Hello and welcome to Bald and Bloviating. I'm your bald host, Mookie Spitz, and I'll be bloviating about something new. We will focus on a screenplay, an original screenplay, and I will do my best to bring it to life in a podcast. The original screenplay was called Rusty the Puppy. Let me give you a little backstory on the writing of this screenplay, and then let me dive in for your listening pleasure. Let's see if this works. People love audiobooks. People listen to short stories. People listen to stand-up comics. Let's see if this experiment works, where you get to visualize what's intended for a movie. Way back in 2009, my creative partner Rusty Yunusoff and I had just finished our first screenplay, which we'd written together. We both worked and met at this agency in Irvine, California, a marketing and advertising agency. Rusty was an illustrator and an animator, and I was a copywriter, strategist, and business development guy. So we would literally meet before our work started, sometimes as early as 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, couple hours and then some before the real work started. And I would sit at my desk and he would stand or sit in a chair opposite me. And we did what we had called spitballing. In the industry, it's spitballing. We were spitballing. And Rusty and Mookie Spitz were riffing on ideas for movies, books, storytelling. We had come up with the idea for Super Santa together, and we did it. We wrote a standard 30, 60, 90 screenplay. And by that, I mean the first 30 pages, about a minute of screen time per page on average, visualized. You meet the hero, you introduce their goals, their obstacles. By page 60, you pretty much wreck this hero. They're beaten down on their hero's journey. And in the last 30 pages, you resurrect them to the point where they conquer and win, and everybody happy leaving the theater. That's the formula for screenplays in a very, very rough outline kind of way for Hollywood screenplays. So we wrote a screenplay called Super Santa. It actually went a little bit longer than 90 pages, but we had a blast doing it. And we were on a roll. So let's do another story. We were hungry for more after we wrote this almost entirely before our shifts began, doing a little moonlighting early on. And what next? So deciding to stick to our target audience of younger kids and their parents, we decided to switch gears from a holiday fantasy, which was Super Santa, to a more personal and emotionally resonant story, and went full steam on the classic lost and found pet storytelling archetype. Now, if memory serves, Rusty pitched me on the core idea that he had brewing for quite some time. An old dog dies and is replaced by a puppy. But the puppy is then tormented by the jealous old dog's ghost. Similar to Super Santa, I loved Rusty's creative spark and considered it a catalyst for igniting a broader story arc. Super Santa started with Rusty thinking of a young immigrant girl, maybe a refugee. She's having a hard time. She makes a Christmas wish for her family to be brought back together or saved, what have you. And then all the Santas of the world come together to help this little girl. That's what Rusty's original idea was for Super Santa. And then I riffed that into a superhero story with good guys and bad guys. And we had a blast with that. So analogous to him bringing me an idea, we then spitballed it into a full-blown story that had Rusty's idea as a seed, but then we evolved it into something that had a more pronounced dramatic arc. So for that, we needed complications and drama that went beyond the ghost dog's mere resentment and vengeance. So once again, an older dog dies and then is replaced and then sees his former master playing with this puppy, and then the ghost dog is angry and vengeful. ... So I introduced the small town versus big city theme, the abused and misunderstood puppy running away from home. So the ghost dog, if you will, sets up the puppy to fail, forcing the puppy to run away from home. And then the puppy, lost out in the world, finds himself in a series of humorous and harrowing adventures. Meanwhile, his guilt-ridden owner tries to find him, of course, creating a parallel narrative that catches up and rejoins with the puppy's tale. Full circle for true love and devotion to win the day, of course. I knew we needed a bad guy, too, and thought of the ongoing war between cats and dogs. So after we created Brutus, the scheming, duplicitous feline, the house cat, on the sidelines, but basically stirring stuff up, a colorful cast of animals evolved out of this core concept, and they both hindered and helped the hapless puppy as he wandered like Alice through the wonderland and looking glass of the big city, trying to find a new home as his master in parallel tried to find him. Pretty good setup. Not completely original, we know, but the specific setup was pretty good. It was simple, basic, emotionally resonant at the core. And unlike Super Santa, which had a lot to do with action, this adventure we wanted to make deeply personal, very emotional. As far as the title went, we loved Ghost Dog per se, but knew it was used elsewhere. And copyright challenges aside, Rusty and I didn't want our script mixed up with other stories or their own intellectual property, and we thought of alternatives. After some back and forth, I proposed Rusty the Puppy, basically as a placeholder, and the title sounded endearing and offered an eponymous homage to my creative partner. So what's often the case, what started as a placeholder just kind of stuck. So we went for it. We wrote and registered the screenplay, as I mentioned, back in 2009 and tried pitching it in Hollywood to some of Rusty's studio contacts. Now here, this is a secondary story that makes this interesting in its own way. Now, for the most part, industry outsiders, for us to get attention, we knew was a super long shot. Rusty had studio contacts, but basically he was a for-hire animator, illustrator. And it wasn't like he was slinging cocktails with Joe Esterhaz. He kind of knew a few people in the industry, and he did his best to shop it around. So when no phones rang and no options were offered, we weren't particularly disappointed. We knew how hard it is. Pretty much every waiter and yoga instructor in LA has a screenplay in their pocket. But we did go wild seeing the trailers for the 2016 movie. Fast forward 7 years from when we completed the screenplay and Rusty shopped it around. We saw the trailer for a movie called The Secret Life of Pets. And based on the trailer alone, it seemed really, really familiar. We had similar kinds of characters. There was the Brutus-like cat. We had the rough guy cats in a street gang. We had a long list of similarities here. But our surprise subsided somewhat when we finally saw the full-length film in theaters. The revealed plot far more convoluted and dissimilar to our work than what was intimated with the previews. Although several of the film's characters echoed our own, like I mentioned, a pro screenplay writer assured us that these creative convergences happen all the time, either intentionally or more often randomly. And even if not entirely coincidental, good luck, guys, effectively trying to litigate your screenplay from 2009 and this movie, hit movie, 7 years later. But none of that was our intent anyway. Rusty and I instead felt Rusty the Puppy was a great script in its own right. More power to it and us if it inspired elements of a movie millions of people eventually enjoyed. But again, that wasn't the point. We loved writing this. We had a great time spitballing it, bringing it to life. And I scanned it and I took the digital version and I posted it on the blog platform Medium last March. And I'm going to put the link in the description here. And now I'm going to podcast my own audiobook style reading of this, because why not? Sharing it here is going to give the story a new audience. It again reminds me of the fun we had while we wrote it. And it's inspirational in terms of its potential repurposing. But let's just see what happens here in terms of me just literally reading the script. And I'm going to be mindful of not sticking to the formalities of a screenplay. Now, most folks have no idea even what a screenplay looks like. And suffice to say that screenplays, if they're written well, have no backstory. Descriptions are limited, and it's basically just telling the creators where to put the camera, more or less, as in exterior shot or interior shot to frame it, listing in all caps location and the time of day, and then a very, very terse, direct description of where that shot or scene is taking place, and then the name of the character and what they say, and that's it. There's no, the character was thinking that this was happening, or the character was upset. It's all just what you see on screen. And in that sense, it's Hemingway-esque in its minimalism. Now, when I write prose, and I just published my sci-fi novel, I'm going deep. And some folks might consider it indulgent. I consider it glorious in terms of self-expression. But this screenplay and every other screenplay I've written, I have obeyed the rules of what you see is what you get. No backstory, no inner states of the characters. Basically, a screenplay is a list of things that the director and producer and actors need to see to bring this story to life in uninflected images and cross-cut scenes on a screen. That's it. So let's see if it holds up in a reading. I'll embellish a little bit, but I just think this is a fun exercise. So with all that, welcome to Rusty the Puppy, an original screenplay written by Michael Spitz, that's me, Mookie Spitz, and Rusty Yunusoff. Writers Guild of America, number 1366550. We registered it to ensure that we have the copyright with the Writers Guild. And here we go. The movie opens with a suburban vista early one morning. We see homes and yards, meadows and parks. And a cityscape looms in the distance. So imagine this classic suburban Americana with the looming urban landscape beyond. Then we see Nick's house on the front lawn. There's a bike out front, and a newspaper is tossed onto the lawn. Rex, a grown, medium-sized dog, runs out of Nick's house and fetches the morning newspaper. The scene cuts to inside Nick's house in the bedroom where Nick, a man in his early 20s, sleeps in his bed. Brutus, a large, fat cat, sleeps on Nick's chest. The bedroom door bursts open. Rex, the dog, enters with the paper in his mouth. Woof, woof, woof. Rex tosses the newspaper in front of the bed, and Nick and Brutus are suddenly woken up. Meow. Brutus leaps off Nick, who sits up and stretches. Good morning, Rex. Woof. Nick gets out of bed. Let's take you for a walk, buddy. Woof, woof. Nick and Rex exit the bedroom while Brutus, smirking, jumps back into Nick's bed. Scene cuts to Nick's house by the front porch. Nick is dressed, ready to go. Rex is on a leash, and they both exit the house. Nick picks up the bicycle that we saw earlier on the front lawn, starts to ride it, and then Rex, on his leash, trots alongside Nick as he rides along the street. We see Nick riding along, Rex trotting by his side. A car horn beeps, and a pickup truck slows next to them and follows flush. Uncle Mike, guy who's middle-aged, wearing overalls, waves from the driver's seat. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Uncle Mike. What do you say, Rexy? Says Uncle Mike. Woof, woof. Uncle Mike honks the horn a couple times and drives off. Nick and Rex turn and go down a dirt trail together into a suburban meadow a little bit later. There we find Nick holding a frisbee and Rex sitting at his feet. All right, Rex, let's see what you can do. Woof, woof. Nick tosses the frisbee into the air and Rex runs and retrieves it. Woof, woof. Attaboy, Rexy. Then we cut to Nick's house, the front lawn, later that day. Nick with Rex ride up the driveway. Brutus, the cat, suddenly scampers right into the path of Nick's bike. Brutus, watch out! Brutus leaps to one side. Nick avoids the cat, but by making the fast maneuver, falls off his bike. Ow! Responds Rex, freaked out. Brutus the cat flees around the house. Rex, with his leash dangling, chases after the cat. Scene cuts to Nick's house in the backyard. It's got a garden, a shed, and a large tree. Rex chases Brutus through the yard, leaping through the garden. Brutus, the cat, hurls vegetables at ducking Rex. Brutus leaps into a trash can by the shed, hurling garbage at ducking Rex. Brutus leaps from the trash can to a shed roof, hurling roof tiles at ducking Rex. Brutus then leaps from the shed roof to a tree branch, taunting Rex. Woof, woof. Afraid, says the cat. It's nothing, especially for a big dog like you. I'm not afraid, says Rex. Just really, really mad at you for hurting my master. He'll be fine. Go for it then, little doggy. Rex preps for a jump when Nick enters the backyard and watches. No, don't do it. Brutus, the mischievous cat, grins. Rex jumps on top of the shed roof and then runs across it. We see slow motion as Rex leaps into the air, almost reaching the branch, clawing, missing it, and starting to fall. Rex plummets below, hits his head on a stone right below the tree. Nick rushes over to his dog. Rex, are you okay? Rexy, Rexy. Nick carries Rex back into the house. Brutus, sitting on the branch, smiles, says to himself, mission accomplished. In Nick's house, the living room, that afternoon, Rex is lying on a blanket. His head is bandaged. Nick leans over Rex. I'm so sorry, buddy. The scene fades out. Scene fades into Nick bringing a blanket to Rex. Here you go, boy. Scene fades out again, fades into Nick bringing food for his dog. Eat, Rex. Come on. I brought blueberry muffins, your favorite. Come on, boy. You've got to eat. Scene fades out, fades back in. Nick brings a doggy toy. No reaction. Fade out, fade in. Nick checks on Rex. Nothing. Fade out, fade in. Rex lies on a blanket, his eyes closed. The room darkens around him. Fade out, fade in. We cut to Nick's house, the living room, the next morning. Sun shines, birds sing. Rex is now a ghost. He's eerily translucent, lying on the blanket. Ghost Rex opens his eyes, moves an ear, starts wagging his tail. Ghost Rex stands, stretches, shakes, and sniffs around. Cut to Nick's kitchen. Ghost Rex enters, sniffing around. Cut to Nick in his bedroom. Ghost Rex enters the bedroom, sniffing around. Cut to Nick's living room. Ghost Rex enters there, sniffs around. Then we hear the sound of the door being unlocked and open. Inside Nick's kitchen, Nick enters, takes off muddy boots, and washes his dirty hands in the sink. Ghost Rex rushes up to Nick. Woof, woof, woof. Nick doesn't hear a thing and ignores him. Scene cuts to Nick's house living room a little bit later. Nick enters and drops the frisbee and dog collar on the couch. Nick goes up the steps, looking sad, followed by Ghost Rex. Woof, woof, woof. Brutus, the cat, sitting on a windowsill, sees Ghost Rex, leaps down, and hides underneath a couch. Nick continues up the steps. Brutus, while peering out, says to himself, "This is so weird." Ghost Rex says, "Totally. It's unlike Master to be avoiding me like this." Brutus comes out, walks around Ghost Rex, staring at him. "Incredible," says the cat. "Who'd have thought?" Ghost Rex wonders, is he mad at me for some reason? "Wow," says the cat. "Why are you looking at me like that?" says the ghost dog. "You don't know what's going on, do you?" "What are you talking about?" "I can't believe it." "Believe what?" "There's something you should know." Brutus jumps onto the windowsill and gestures. Ghost Rex comes close. We see a point of view through the window, backyard. At the base of a large tree is a freshly dug grave. We see a close-up of the tombstone, and on it is written, Rex. The ghost dog is upset. What's going on? "I'm sorry, buddy," says the cat, "but you didn't make it." "What are you talking about?" "You died." "You're crazy. I'm right here." "Looks like you've turned into some kind of ghost dog, Rex." "You're out of your mind." "You think so?" Brutus leaps from windowsill, grabs the frisbee, tosses it at Ghost Rex, who tries to catch it. The frisbee goes right through Ghost Rex, hits the wall on the other side of him. "I can't believe it." The ghost dog waves his paw through a piece of furniture. "What happened?" "You really don't remember anything?" "I remember Nick riding his bike. I was running along next to him. Then You? You? Ghost Rex shakes his head. I woke up here." Do you know what happened to me?" The cat shrugs. "Car must have hit you, buddy." "It was over before you knew it." "This can't be happening." "I'm so sorry." "Is this why Nick is ignoring me?" "Come on, man, he can't see you." "Then how come you can?" Brutus gestures to a wall mirror. We see a point of view from the ghost dog. Brutus is sitting by himself in an empty room. "Maybe humans can't see ghosts," says the cat, "and only we can." "But why am I here?" wonders Ghost Rex. "What am I supposed to do?" "I have no idea. Maybe you're here to say goodbye." Ghost Rex looks at the dog collar on the couch. Close-up of the collar reveals a tag engraved with the word Rex. The ghost dog, tears in his eye, gasps, "Nick." Ghost Rex turns and heads up the steps to the bedroom. In the bedroom, Ghost Rex enters, but Nick, sure enough, doesn't notice. Nick sits on his bed looking at a portrait. Close-up of the portrait reveals Nick and Rex playing frisbee together. "I'm going to miss you, Rex. You were the best friend I ever had. And you were the best master a dog could ever dream of," shouts Ghost Rex. But Nick isn't fazed. He continues to look at the portrait. "Goodbye, Rex." Ghost Rex stares. Goodbye, Nick. A heavenly light shines from the ceiling. Ghost Rex floats up through the roof of the house and into the sky. Scene cuts to the living room. Brutus is sitting on a windowsill looking out at the sky, his face lit. We see Ghost Rex rising up into the clouds. Bye-bye, Rex, smiles Brutus, this time for good, I hope. Brutus enters Nick's bedroom, rubs against Nick, who pets Brutus. The sky above Nick's house is lit. Clouds part, and a light beam guides Rex upward. We hear a chorus of angels. Scene cuts to the gates of heaven right outside. Ghost Rex approaches the pearly gates. The camera pans down to reveal a doggy door as part of the gates of heaven. Cut to Nick's house, front yard. Next morning, a pickup truck pulls into the driveway. Uncle Mike gets out of his truck, sets down a large box wrapped with blue bow by the front door. Nick opens his front door. Hey, Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike pats his shoulder. Sorry to hear about Rexy, Nick. Thanks. It's just not the same without him. I know. Want to come in? I've got some things to do. See you later? For sure, champ. Hang in there, all right? I'll be okay, says Nick. Uncle Mike leaves. Nick notices the large box Uncle Mike left by the door. Mike, you forgot something. But the pickup truck pulls out from the driveway. That's a little something for you, Nick. The large box shakes. Uncle Mike gives a thumbs up gesture. Cut to Nick's house in the living room. Nick sets the box down, pulls the blue bow, which falls with the lid opening. Two little paws grab the top. Little wet nose peers out. Yep, it's a puppy. Mike, says Nick, shaking his head. Brutus is underwhelmed visibly. Meow. A white puppy with orange spots falls out and rolls to the floor. Yep. Brutus raises an eyebrow and scowls. Back up in heaven by the pearly gates. Ghost Rex floats toward an open doggy door. Yep. Chorus of angels suddenly stop. Ghost Rex looks downward. Yep. Ghost Rex frowns and zooms downward back to Earth, and the doggy door slams shut. Ghost Rex floats downward back toward the house. Floats downward through the ceiling of Nick's house, hovering above the room. Sees the puppy, the new puppy. Yep. Meow. Brutus leaps off the windowsill and exits the room. Nick pets the puppy. I guess you are kind of cute after all, little guy, even if you do look a little bit rusty. Rusty licks Nick, who laughs. Fade out, fade back in. We're back at Nick's living room. Next morning. Puppy's in a blanket, surrounded by chew toys. Brutus sits on a windowsill. Puppy wakes to the sound of a slamming car door. Moments later, Nick enters. Here, boy. Puppy leaps into Nick's arms. I've got something for you, kiddo. Close up to a new collar with the name Rusty engraved on the nameplate. Puppy puts his neck through it, looks at himself in a mirror. Welcome home, Rusty, says Nick. Yep. Let's go for a walk, buddy. Yep. Nick and Rusty exit through the kitchen to the backyard as Ghost Rex floats down from the ceiling, wind blowing into the room. Brutus, seeing the ghost dog, smirks. You're back again? What happened? That little fuzzball is what happened. I thought you were gone. Where did it come from, Uncle Mike? Figures, do you think our master will keep him? I think so. The pup does look kind of cute. Ghost Rex frowns. Brutus gestures. We look through the backyard. Nick and Rusty playing. Nick gestures. Rusty shakes his hand. Nick gestures again. Rusty sits. I can't believe he's teaching him my tricks. Sorry, buddy, grins the cat. It was only a matter of time. But Nick told me I was his best friend. He can't replace me. Looks like he just did. We see Ghost Rex through the window in the backyard. Nick gestures. Rusty lies down, feet in the air. Let me guess, grins the cat. Playing dead? Ghost Rex floats right through the wall, the wind blowing in his wake. Brutus leaps down from the windowsill and follows. Scene cuts to the front yard. Ghost Rex walking away from the house, the wind blowing in his wake, the cat following. Where are you going? What difference does it make? Hey, you gonna let that little fuzzball take over? What am I supposed to do about it? The cat stops, gestures. Psst, hey, what? Psst, hey. Ghost Rex stops, turns. What? Brutus scurries up to the ghost dog. What if you taught that little fuzzball a lesson? What do you mean? Says the ghost dog. You should show that little fuzzball that no dog could ever replace you. How? Wonders Ghost Rex. I'm dead, remember? Yeah, I remember, but you're a ghost now, and ghosts can be, really scary. I don't know about this. Boo! Cut it out. No, seriously, I bet you've got a few tricks up your sleeve and you don't even know about them. Are you sure? Wonders the ghost dog. Come on, says the cat. Let's have some fun. Brutus extends a paw. Ghost Rex hesitates, puts his own paw right through it. The wind blows. Brutus leans into that wind. Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's get him. Scene cuts to Nick's house, living room, later that night. Rusty is sleeping. The wind stirs. Rusty the puppy fidgets. Nothing. Then the wind blows again. Rusty is awoken, stands, sniffing around. Still nothing. Rusty sits, sniffing, looking around, confused. Nothing. Rusty lays back down, closes his eyes. Then the wind blows harder. Rusty leaps. Yap, yap, yap. Nick enters. What's the matter, buddy? Rusty runs in circles. Yap, yap, yap. Take it easy, okay? Let's go back to sleep. Nick leaves the room. Gust of wind forces door to creep open. Arrgh, says Rusty the puppy, freaked out. Another strong gust knocks over the water dish. Yap, yap, yap. Nick comes back in. Hey, hey, hey. Yap, yap, yap. Stop that. Stop that. Rusty runs in circles. Nick rights the water bowl. You've made a mess. Nick pets Rusty, lifts him up. Rusty whimpers, licks Nick. Scared to be alone, little guy? Come on. Nick carries Rusty out of the room. Scene cuts to Nick's house in the bedroom later that night. Nick sleeps in his bed, Rusty curled up with him. The wind suddenly blows again. Rusty wakes, cowers. Nothing. The wind blows, blankets slide down. Rusty bites at the blanket, pulls blanket back. More wind, a bigger gust. Rusty lunges at the blanket, biting, thrashing. That wakes Nick up. What are you doing? Rusty doesn't let go of the blanket, thrashing. Nick grabs the blanket. Yap, yap, yap. Give me my blanket, Rusty. The wind blows with even more fury. Rusty leaps off the bed, runs in circles. Yap, yap, yap. Shh, I need to get some sleep. The wind blows again. Rusty leaps into bed, grabs the blanket again. Stop that, boy. Stop it. Cut to Nick's house, the back porch, later that night. Rusty lies on the ground, alone, on the porch, in the back, whimpering. Rain, thunder, and lightning. Rex's tombstone glistens in the rain. Rusty cowers. Lightning strikes again. And in that flash, Ghost Rex is visible for just an instant. The wind suddenly blows. Rusty scampers underneath the back porch, whimpering. Cut to the living room. That night, Brutus, the cat, sits on the windowsill. Ghost Rex enters through a wall. Not bad for a ghost, huh? Winks Ghost Rex. Nice job, partner, high-fives the cat. Did you see that look on his face when he got thrown out of the house? Nice, says the cat. We wrecked him, smiles Ghost Rex. Great night for it. Cut to the back porch early the next morning. Nick opens the back door and walks onto the porch. Here, boy, where are you? Come here. Nick walks off the porch and looks around. Come out, boy. Don't be shy. Rusty scampers out, tail drooping, his ears down. Aw, it's okay, little guy. Rusty jumps into Nick's arms. Nick pets Rusty the puppy. Want to have some breakfast? Yep, yep. Cut to the kitchen. A little bit later, the sun's shining through. Nick sits at a table eating breakfast. Rusty the puppy sits below him, eating from a bowl. Close up on the bowl with the name Rex on it. Rusty looks up, sees Brutus the cat on the windowsill. Moments later, Ghost Rex becomes visible, sitting next to Brutus. Yap, yap, yap. What is it this time, boy? Nick looks at the window again, sees only Brutus sitting there. Yep, yep, yep. Oh, my bad. I guess I never formally introduced you to my cat. Rusty, meet Brutus. Brutus, my new puppy, Rusty. Brutus winks. Yep, 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 yep. Settle down, Rusty. You guys are roommates now. Rusty whines. Brutus meows. Great, guys. Now let's finish breakfast. Rusty turns back to his bowl, slowly starts eating. But Ghost Rex appears again, this time right next to Rusty. That's my bowl, pal. Rusty howls and pees on the floor out of fright. Nice work. Ghost Rex suddenly vanishes. Rusty runs hysterically in circles beneath the table. Oh no, says Nick. Yep, 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 says Rusty. Nick grabs Rusty. You're a handful, aren't you? First you kept me up all night, and now you've peed all over the floor. Rusty yelps. Let's take you out, little guy. Nick grabs the leash and exits with Rusty. Ghost Rex appears again and high-fives Brutus. That was like so Hitchcock, man, smiles Brutus the cat. Ghost Rex and Brutus laugh it up. Cut to outside Nick's house on the front porch. Only a little bit later. Nick grabs and gets on his bicycle. This time Rusty trots alongside. Outside Nick's house on the street, a car horn beeps again. It's the pickup, loaded with fruit and vegetables, pulling alongside. Uncle Mike waves. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Mike. Off to the farmer's market. Somebody's got to feed those city slickers with some real food. What do you say, Rusty? Yep. How's the new pup working out? He's adorable and I really like him, says Nick. but he sure is a handful. Ah, puppies are like kids, Nick. I've got 5 of them, so I should know. Puppies, asked Nick, or kids? Uncle Mike says, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. I can't even imagine. Remember when Rexy was a pup, how much you struggled with him too? Sure, says Nick, but Rusty here, he's wild. Just be patient, suggests Mike. He'll learn. Uncle Mike honks twice, drives off. Nick continues on his bike with Rusty down the path. In a suburban meadow, a little bit later, Nick and Rusty are now playing frisbee. Nick hurls a long pass and Rusty leaps. Great catch! Bring it on back, buddy. Rusty rushes back. Ghost Rex suddenly appears in front of Nick. Yep, yep, yep. What's wrong, boy? Ghost Rex. Roar. Rusty is like, who are you? I'm Nick's one and only faithful dog, growls Rex. This is my home and my master, insists Rusty. I'll never let you take my master away from me, growls Rex. A sudden gust of wind blows hard. Yep, yep, yep. It's all right, little guy. Nick reaches out to make Rusty calmer, tries to pet him. Ghost Rex, stand down, he's mine. Rusty, get away from him. Ghost Rex, make me. Yep, yep, yep. Rusty lunges at Ghost Rex, who suddenly vanishes. Rusty leaps right through the vanishing apparition of the ghost dog and right into Nick, biting him. Ow! Nick clutches his bit hand. Rusty, bad boy, bad boy. Rusty runs hysterically around in circles. Ah! Nick shakes his bitten hand, runs into the house. Rusty, completely confused, upset, follows. Cut to Nick's house, backyard, evening. Rusty is tied to a post, thrashes at his leash until he's exhausted. Poor little puppy, says Brutus, up on a windowsill. You okay? Rusty looks up. Brutus is sitting, facing out. You deserve so much better, don't you think? Says the cat. I didn't do it. I know, says Brutus. That strange dog came out of nowhere and made me do those bad things, says Rusty. I know. Doesn't my master see what's really going on? Maybe he does. Yep. All I'm saying is that maybe your master actually knows you didn't do it. Then why would he be mean to me? Why would he tie me outside like this? I don't know, kiddo. Maybe he misses his old dog. Maybe he doesn't like you as much. Maybe he wants to get rid of you. Rusty lies back down, his ears drooping, sighing. I'm so sorry, little doggy, smirks the cat. That's just life, I guess. People can be so cruel. I still can't believe it. Really? Then go see for yourself. Yep. Brutus gestures behind him. Rusty stands and walks to the window and peers inside the house. Inside the living room, Nick sits on a couch, bandage on his hand, holding a portrait. Close up of the portrait, it's Nick with Rex. Nick says, I'll never have a friend as good as you, Rex. Cut backyard to the porch. Brutus shakes his own head. You see? I thought he loved me. Don't feel so bad. Maybe he's not the right master for you. Yep. Maybe you should go out there and find a new master for yourself, suggests the cat. Rusty struggles against the leash. Find one that won't tie you outside, for example, says Brutus. I bet there's someone out there who will love you forever and take better care of you than Nick. Rusty struggles against the leash with even more fury. And I bet that leash isn't as strong as you might think it is, suggests the cat. Yap, yap, yap. Cut to Nick's house, the backyard, early the next morning. Nick comes out of the house, yawns. Okay, little guy, let's try this again. Nick instead finds a gnawed half of a leash still tied to the post. The other half and the puppy are gone. Oh no! Rusty, where are you? Nick frantically searches the yard, and Nick finds a small hole in the back fence. He's gone! What have I done? Nick climbs the fence and walks beyond, searching. Hey, Rusty, where are you? He claps, whistles, here, boy, here, boy. Ghost Rex enters the backyard through the same fence. Brutus, still on the windowsill, watches and grins. We did it, partner, says the cat. How could this happen, wonders the ghost dog. He escaped, gnawed right through his leash and ran away, says the cat. Who knew? I never thought it would get this far, says the ghost. I just wanted to teach him a lesson, get him to show some respect, you know what I mean? Who cares about that, says the cat. You should be happy you finally got rid of him. But my master is looking for him, and he looked really upset. Yeah, says the cat, he'll soon give up. And no more fuzzball. This isn't right, says the ghost dog. Come on, says the cat. Your master will soon be over him, just like he'll soon get over you. Wait a second. Ghost Rex looks at the large tree. Sudden flashback to when Brutus leaps from the shed roof to the tree branch, taunting Rex. Go for it then, little doggy. Cut back to the moment. That was you. You killed me, and now you made me get rid of the puppy, too. Me? Says the cat. You're the jealous one. All I did was help you do what you wanted to do all along. Why else did you come back? You're a monster. Oh, come on. You dogs are all alike, all lovey-dovey with your masters, when us cats are the ones really controlling the whole household. Arrgh. The wind blows. Brutus ducks. Down, boy. Your time here is done. You're overstaying your welcome, dog. Arrgh. You no good. Heavenly light suddenly shines in, and Ghost Rex is enveloped within it. Ghost Rex, thrashing, starts floating up into the sky. A gust of wind blows. Ta-da, Ghost Bowser, smiles the cat. With any luck, I'll never see either one of you crazy canines again. The house is now mine, all mine. The scene cuts to a main road at the intersection near a shoulder. Rusty the puppy runs to a large bush and stops in its shadow. He looks out at traffic stopping and starting at a traffic light. Uncle Mike, in his pickup, pulls up, country music playing loudly, also stopping at that red light. Rusty sees the truck, rushes out, and leaps into the back of the pickup truck. He hides behind boxes of produce. Uncle Mike heads down the road with the city looming in the distance. Cut to Rusty watching his neighborhood disappear in a cloud of dust out the back of the pickup truck. Cut back to Nick's house, the backyard. Nick climbs over the fence. picks up Rusty's gnawed leash. The rest of it still tied to the post, minus Rusty. I'm going to find you, Rusty, he says. I promise. Cut to Nick's house in the living room. Nick sitting on the couch, still holding that gnawed leash. Brutus, however, is all cuddled up, curled at Nick's feet, purring. Nick lifts up the cat and places him on his lap. Ooh, says Brutus contentedly. This feels good. Brutus rolls over in Nick's lap. Little to the left, boss. Oh, yeah, that's it. Now this is what I'm talking about. Cut to the sky above Nick's house. Ghost Rex floating upward just like before. But there's no lights or singing angels this time. Ghost Rex makes it up outside the gates of heaven again. He floats over to the half-open doggy door, which just as he gets to it slams shut in his face. Ghost Rex scratches at heaven's doggy door. Off screen, a heavenly guard dog growls. Don't even try it, bud. The heavenly guard dog is revealed to be an all-white German shepherd on a golden leash floating into view. Forget about it, Rex. What's wrong? You get one guess, pal. This is about the puppy, right? Good guess. Ghost. Check, 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 check. Check, check, check. Ghost Rex scratches at heaven's doggy door. A heavenly guard dog, off screen, sneezing as he talks. Don't even try it, bud. Achoo! The heavenly guard dog reveals himself to be a large, all-white German shepherd on a golden leash, floating into view. Forget about it, Rex. What's wrong? You get one guess. This is about the puppy, right? Good guess. Achoo! Do you have a nasal condition? Choo! Air's kind of thin up here. I think I messed things up, says Ghost Rex. What happens to me now? You have two options. Achoo! You can go back to Earth and try and fix things. Ghost Rex looks down below to the farms, cities, and lakes of Earth. Or else you. Ghost Dog suddenly gets a vision of hell with a flaming volcano, condemned dogs writhing in agony. Achoo! Bless you, says Ghost Rex. Thank you, says the heavenly guard dog, rubbing his nose. Ghost Rex turns, and he slowly starts to descend back to Earth. Good choice, buddy, but you'd better hurry. You only have 3 days until this doggy door will close for you from heaven forever. Achoo! The sneezes transform into booming thunderclaps as clouds gather. Rain starts pouring heavily on the descending Ghost Rex. I'll find you, little puppy, says Ghost Dog. Sorry about all this. Cut to a farmer's market, an open area in the city later that morning. Uncle Mike pulls in, parks his pickup truck, gets out, starts chatting with another farmer. In the back of Mike's pickup truck, Rusty peers out checks to make sure the coast is clear. He leaps, but his leash is caught in a product box. Rusty pulls at the leash, which snaps off at the collar. Rusty leaps out of the truck, leaving behind his collar and leash. He is a free dog. Uncle Mike lifts a box in the farmer's market, just missing Rusty, who scurries around and back. In the city street, minutes later, traffic, crowds, noise, and smoke surround the confused Rusty, who dives across the street, cars honking. Rusty barely makes it, alarmed and exhausted. Gigantic skyscrapers looming above. City dogs being walked give Rusty snobby looks. Rusty sniffs at some food, at some garbage. Above him stands the sign, "No dogs allowed." Rusty, still confused, stops in front of a hot dog vendor. "Aw, what a cute puppy," says the vendor. Yep. The hot dog vendor hands him a sample. "Want a hot dog, little doggy?" Yep. Meanwhile, gang cats, two of them, scruffy city kitties, are watching. "Little Pooch is a hustler," says the first gang cat. "Looks like he's got some talent," speculates the other cat. "I'll go tell the gang." The cats turn and race back up an alley. In a side street, later that afternoon, dark clouds have gathered and rain starts to fall. Restaurants and vendors are starting to close. Rusty sneezes, scowls, looks miserable in the rain. A city dog walked by his master crosses his path. "Come on, boy, let's go inside." City dog and his master enter the building, closing the door on Rusty, who scampers up dark streets, shivering. Long shadows frighten our little puppy. Cut to side street by an alley as gang cats huddle together by a drain pipe. "Look, that's him," says the first cat. Rusty takes refuge under an awning near several garbage cans. "Hi, dog," says the first cat. Rusty's ears dart up, looking in direction of the various kitty voices. "Rainy tonight, huh?" says the second cat. "Kind of cold, too," says a third. "Warm, dry place would be nice," says a fourth. Yap. First cat sticks his head out of a garbage can. The other cats appear out of darkness surrounding our little puppy. First cat extends a paw. "New in town? Nice to meet you, buddy." Second cat suggests, "Come to our place." Third cat, "Let's get out of the rain." Fourth, "Come on, little guy, this way." Movie cuts to an abandoned off-Broadway theater later that night. The once quaint theater house sports a dusty curtain, tatty chairs, sagging balconies. Various gang cats lead Rusty through boarded front doors, down garbage-strewn aisles, up to the battered stage. Dozens more gang cats lurk up and down the aisles. "Wow," says Rusty, "pretty cool." "This is where it all happens, kid," says the first cat. "What happens?" Stage lights suddenly blaze on. Standing on stage, bathed in a circle of light, is the director, a tall, thin cat wearing beret, cape, monocle, and holding a baton. "I see a small, helpless soul," says the director, "lost in the city alone, begging for food, vulnerable with no place to go." The gang cats escort Rusty up to the stage. "Lonely doggy, sad, sad doggy," sings the kitty chorus. "And then our hero is given shelter," narrates the director. "A place he can finally call home." "Home, home, sweet home," sing the kitty cats. Ta-da! Announces the director. What happens? Life happens, kid. Come here, let's go. Hurry, hurry, let me have a good look at you. The gang cats bring Rusty to the director. Looking good. What have you got for me? Huh? Asks Rusty. I don't have all day. What can you do? Can you sing? Can you dance? I don't understand. What's to understand? This is your audition, kid. Your chance at the big time. I can bark. Will that work? Yep, yep. Gang cats wince and groan. The director shushes his gang cats. That's a start, kiddo. Can you do tricks? Rusty rolls over. Gang cats nod. Excellent. Can you stand? Rusty stands. Gang cats whistle. Can you shake hands? Rusty extends a paw. The gang cats howl. Brilliant! Can you play dead? Give me your best shot. Rusty plays dead. Gang cats whoop. The director starts to cry. The director then lifts up Rusty, puts his arm around the puppy's shoulder. I can't believe it. You're unnatural. The director hugs Rusty, says, Welcome to the troupe. The gang cats applaud and cheer. Rusty excitedly wags his tail. Shh! The gang cats relax. Our new star's premiere will be tomorrow, so he needs his sleep. Show him to his room. Gang cats escort Rusty off stage. Who is that guy? Asks Rusty. He's a genius, says the first cat. Ever see cats? Suggests the second cat. The curtain suddenly falls. Pan up to the boss kitty watching from the balcony. Meow. Cut to the railroad station inside the city early the next morning. A cargo train pulls in and stops. Ghost Rex floats out of the closed railway car, sniffs the ground, starts following the scent out and into the street. In the city street, Ghost Rex crosses the busy thoroughfare, cars zooming right through him. He sniffs around the same hot dog vendor who was so generous to Rusty a little while before. He continues to sniff along the street into an alley beneath that same awning by that same garbage can. Ghost Rex continues following the scent, sniffs up and around to a boarded up entrance to a theater. What have you gotten yourself into, little puppy? Looking up at the battered marquee. Cut to an open-air fish market later in the day. It's a busy market. Vendors sell from stalls, crowds appraise and buy a whole bunch of seafood. A vendor puts fish on a scale. Yep, says Rusty. The crowd looks over. Rusty chases his own tail in the middle of the market. He stops and stands, still wagging. A little girl points. What a cute little puppy. Yap. A crowd naturally gathers around Rusty, who puts on quite a show doing cute tricks. 360 pan around Rusty as he's performing with adoring customers and vendors, clapping and gaping and laughing. Rusty at one point shakes hands with the little girl and the crowd goes wild. The camera pans the crowd to the stalls where gang cats sneak out from under tables and start stealing fish. The director stands to the side, directing the gang cats in their hustle. The vendor notices the gang cats. Hey! The director whistles. The gang cats, loaded with stolen fish, dart off in all directions. The vendor turns to Rusty, who has also vanished. Thieves, he calls out, stop them. Cut to the back of the theater. Piles of fish are on stage. Gang cats are lying around, patting their full bellies, using fish bones for toothpicks. Congratulations on your fabulous premiere, says the director, hiccuping. Was it good? Good, good. You were more than just good, my friend. You were grand, masterful, spectacular. You were a star. I wish my master could have seen that. He obviously didn't recognize your talents. Luckily, we do. You're one of us now. You're a part of something special. Thanks. Where did all this fish come from? They are tokens of appreciation from your grateful audience. Have some. There's more to come. The director tosses a guppy at Rusty, who nips at it, wagging his tail. Cut to a pier, a seafood restaurant, later that day. Waiters serve outdoor tables as Rusty does tricks and entertains patrons from the roadside. The distracted patrons laugh, point, and smile at Rusty while gang cats slink from table to table behind them, stealing food. The vendor arrives with delivery for the restaurant and sees Rusty. Hey, aren't you? One of the patrons sees the gang cat on a table. Ah! There's complete pandemonium as the gang cats suddenly scatter after being recognized. What a tough crowd today, admits the director. The director runs too as Rusty is grabbed by the vendor. Gotcha! Yep, yep. The director shrugs, couldn't care less, and runs away with the rest of his minions. The vendor, grabbing Rusty, puts the puppy into a box. Cut to the abandoned off-Broadway theater later that afternoon. Ghost Rex is sniffing around on the stage. The boss kitty up top, there the whole time, watches. Look what the cat dragged in, says the boss. She slinks over the balcony and leaps down onto the stage. Have you seen a puppy? Asks Rex. White with orange spots, answers to the name Rusty, gestures about this big. Boss Kitty Saunders sniffs Ghost Rex's glowing, translucent body. You look pretty groovy. I'm looking for a lost puppy. No puppies here. Ghost Rex walks through the stage curtain. Backstage, a moment later, Boss Kitty squeezes under the curtain and Saunders following Ghost Rex. Ooh, how did you do that? You sure you haven't seen him? Asks Rex. Sorry. What's your name, glowing doggy? I used to have a name and a master, but now I'm a ghost and I have nothing. That's so sad. What happened? Cat killed me. Whoops, blushes the boss kitty. I know that puppy's been here. He's all alone. It's my fault he got lost. That's why I'm here. I need to bring him back home, okay? I wouldn't worry about that puppy, says the boss kitty. Maybe he's found a new home by now, winking. Maybe you have too. Home is where my master is. The gang cats suddenly enter. Boss kitty gestures to the ghost dog. Get lost. Ghost Rex vanishes. Boss Kitty turns to her minions. Where's my fish? Well, boss, the first act went perfectly, says the director. The whole troupe worked like a well-oiled machine, pure Stanislavski. You know what I mean? They loved us. Astonished even myself. Until the second act, I'm afraid, when an ecstatic audience member disrupted our dramatic equilibrium and we had to end the show a little bit unexpectedly. No fish, says the boss. No fish, boss. And my puppy? No puppy either. What happened to the puppy? Ghost Rex, off screen, talking to himself. Rusty. The director shakes his head. Busted. What? Scoffs the boss kitty. He's my bread and butter. Go back and find him. We can't. He's been captured. Ghost Rex reappears in the midst of the gang cats. Where is he? The gang cats, taken aback by the glowing Ghost Rex, kind of freak out. Check it out, man, says the first. Never seen a glowing dog before, says the second. Total Scooby-Doo. Radioactive, says the first. Can he do tricks? Play dead. Grrr, woof, woof. Ghost Rex grows, transforming into a gigantic super specter dog. First cat looks up in wonder, gapes. Whoa. The gang cats suddenly dart in all directions, hiding in the darkness. You lied to me, shouts Ghost Rex. Where's my puppy? I need to bring him back to his master. I'm his new master now, insists Boss Kitty. Rrr. Are you finished yet? Keep this up and you'll never see him ever again. Ghost Rex shrinks back down. Better, says Boss Kitty. Now play nice. I want my puppy back. Stand in line. If you don't get him back, I will. That's an idea. If we show you where he is, will you bring him back to us? Only if I can take him back home with me. Let's let the puppy decide where he wants to be. Doesn't that sound fair? Deal? Ghost Rex smirks. Deal. Boss Kitty gestures. Gang cats return, lead Ghost Rex out of the theater. Are you crazy? Insists the director. What if the puppy decides to go with him? Who said we're going to let the puppy decide? Smiles Boss Kitty. Genius! And if the ghost wants to help us, why should we get in his way? Bravo! Go, says Boss Kitty. As the director runs off, the Boss Kitty smiles. Meow. Cut back to the fish market in the vendors area later that night. A messy space, tables and chairs, an ice cooler, tiny TV, and a cage. The vendor opens the little cage door, tosses poor Rusty inside, and slams it shut. You little rascal, you think you can steal fish from me and get away with it? I'm going to call the pound in the morning and you'll never steal again. Ha! That's for sure. The vendor grabs and throws the sack over the cage to hide what's in it, namely poor little Rusty. He then sits down, starts watching the TV. Inside the cage, Ghost Rex walks right through the sack, and Rusty sees him, jumps up with surprise. Yap! Shh! Yap, yap, yap! Shh! Shh! Ghost Rex leans close. I'm here to bust you out. Get away from me. You're a monster. I'll explain it later, kid. I've got to get you out of here before he calls the pound. How could I ever trust you? Come on, man. I've got a plan. Just stay quiet until I come get you. I don't need your help. Shh, I'll be back, all right? Ghost Rex walks back through the sack, out of the cage, and vanishes. Out in the vendor's area, wind blows into a cooler and starts to rattle. The vendor stirs, looks at the cooler, scratches his head, turns back to the TV. More wind blows past the TV, creating white noise on the TV screen. The vendor gets frustrated, adjusts the antenna, bangs on the set, turns dials, then turns the TV off. The cooler behind him rattles again. The vendor, freaked out, picks up a baseball bat, lifts the cooler lid, revealing only rows of dead fish on ice inside the cooler. The vendor drops the lid back down, turns around. Dead fish float by him in midair. "Hi there," says a dead fish. The vendor visibly freaks out, chases the dead fish around, swinging the bat haphazardly, smashes his place up, trying to hit the floating dead fish. Bobby McFerrin's "Don't Worry, Be Happy" starts playing in the background. The dead fish starts singing along. The vendor, in his frenzy, knocks over the cage and the door busts open. Rusty leaps out. "Be happy," sings the dead fish. The vendor collapses, passed out, onto the cooler. Ghost Dog appears. "Let's go," he says to Rusty. Cut to the city park later that night. It's an open area with landscaping, statues, benches, and lighting. Gang cats and Ghost Rex sit there with Rusty in the middle. "Bravo, bravo," calls out the director. "Let's welcome back our little star." "Time to choose, Rusty," says the Ghost Rex. "Choose? You can come home with me," says the ghost, "and go back to your master. Or you can continue your awesome stage career with us," yells the director, leaping in front of the ghost dog. Ghost Rex walks right through the director and stands in front of Rusty. "Come with me, boy. This is our chance to fix everything. Your master misses you and is waiting for you." The director rolls his eyes. Rusty stands for a moment thinking. "I've made my decision," the puppy finally says. The gang cats whoop. The director leans close, hand to his ear. "I knew you would make the right choice," says Ghost Rex. "Come on, Rusty, let's get out of here." "I'm not going with you," says the puppy. "What?" shouts the ghost. "You made my decision for me. Don't you want to be with your master?" "Whose master?" says the pup. "Your master?" The gang cats laugh. The director puts an arm around Rusty. "Etta, boy, I knew you'd make the right choice. Welcome back to your troupe. You're a star. You're our star." "I'm not your star." "You had one bad show," says the director. "Nothing to fear." "It wasn't a show," insists Rusty. "We were stealing fish." "You belong to us," says the director. "You're a natural. We can feed you, take care of you." "I don't belong here either. You cats are thieves. I quit." Rusty starts to walk away. Boss Kitty leaps from the darkness, grabbing little puppy Rusty. "Listen, you little punk," she says. "Who do you think you are? Once you join our gang, you never leave. You're with us to the very end." "I don't belong with any of you," insists Puppy. "I'm going to find my true master, a real friend." "You stupid fuzzball." Boss Kitty throws Rusty to the ground. "Yep." "Arr," says Ghost Dog. The wind blows. The cats duck back. The director helps Rusty to his feet. Good cop, bad cop style, in league with Boss Kitty. "Thespians, please, we're professionals." "I'm sorry, pup, but you can't leave. You're our star. Besides, we're booked through the season. What would we do without our main man?" "No," insists the puppy, "never." Boss Kitty makes a gesture. The gang cats leap toward Rusty. Ghost Rex grows in size and stands between Rusty and the cats. "Run, Rusty, run!" Rusty turns and runs off. The gang cats are in hot pursuit. Ghost Rex transforms into a powerful gust of wind, blowing all the cats away. "Cut! Cut!" "Go ahead, run, little puppy," smirks Boss Kitty. "Run as far as you can." Boss Kitty holds on to a tree as the wind howls around her. But we'll find you and we'll bring you back. Meow. Ghost Rex reappears and runs behind Rusty into the distance. Moments later, in a city street near the park, Ghost Rex is trotting after Rusty. Stop! Wait, what are you doing? Where are you going? Rusty looks behind, is struck lightly by a limousine. Screeching sounds as the limo window rolls down, revealing a matron seated in back. Vincent, what went wrong? Why did you stop the car? The limo door opens and Vincent, in chauffeur's livery, exits. The chauffeur checks out Rusty, holding an injured paw. What's going on out there? It's a small dog, ma'am, says Vincent, the chauffeur. We must have struck him. Just leave him there and let's get going. The limo window rolls back up. Vincent looks back at the dark glass, furtively grabs Rusty and puts him into his jacket. Vincent, the chauffeur, gets back into the limo and the limo takes off as Ghost Rex stands watching the limo drive away. Cut to the city street near the park. The vendor, in a straitjacket, is being escorted away by medical attendants. Look, there it is across the street. It's a translucent dog. I can see him. I can see through him. Can you see him? Sure, buddy, says an attendant. We all see him fine. Scary. Boo. Come along. Everything will be all right, says the second attendant. Everything's going to be okay, we promise. I saw him. He was glowing. He can make dead fish sing. Cut to Nick's house. The street right in front. Nick is walking dejectedly along the street, holding a leash. Nick walks up his front yard, opens the door as a car honks, and Uncle Mike pulls into Nick's driveway. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Mike. How's the Rusty search going? Badly. I can't seem to find the little guy anywhere. I'm sorry, Ace. Uncle Mike gets out, carries with him a small box wrapped with a bow. Oh, no, says Nick. Come on, Nick. Seriously, no way, Mike. Give me a sec. Nick turns, opens his front door, and Uncle Mike follows Nick into the house. They enter the living room, and Uncle Mike puts the small box onto a table. Brutus, sitting on that windowsill, takes acute interest. Take it back, Mike. Come on, Nick, open it. I don't want another puppy. Please, says Mike, indulge me. Nick sighs, pulls off the bow, opens the lid, peers inside. He smirks, removes the small fishbowl, laughs at the shining goldfish inside. You shouldn't have, Mike. Not a problem, Nick. I mean, you shouldn't have. Nick places the bowl onto a table. Brutus, very interested, prances around the bowl. Come on, Nick, it's a goldfish. I can see that, Mike. A prime specimen. Your cat seems to like it, too. Nick hands the bowl back to Uncle Mike. Take it back. Come on, Nick, it'll make you feel better. I'll feel better when you take it back. I got it on sale. Keep the change. Look, it really seems to like you. Nick and Uncle Mike look at the fishbowl, which is now empty. Where's the fish? You tell me, says Nick. Brutus, back on the windowsill, licks his lips and paws. Meow. Arr. Oh my, says Mike. Sorry about that. Mike. Nick and Uncle Mike look serious and then can't help but burst out laughing. I'm sorry, Uncle Mike. Uncle Mike picks up the empty fishbowl, heads to the door. I just want you to be happy, Nick, that's all. I'll be okay, don't worry about me. I'll just keep looking for Rusty. Good luck, buddy. I'll see you later. Uncle Mike lifts the fishbowl between his face and Nick's. Point of view shot of distorted faces, laughter. Brutus the cat rolls his eyes, smirks, belches again. Cut to the mansion inside the chauffeur's quarters next morning. Rusty's eyes slowly open as he sees Vincent sitting having breakfast and reading the newspaper. Rusty stirs, yawns, awkwardly stands. Good morning, little doggy. Vincent pets Rusty and gives him food. Rusty eats, licks Vincent's hand. Vincent smiles, looks at his watch, puts on his hat. Gotta go, little guy. Stay here, okay? And make sure you don't touch anything. Got that? My boss will absolutely lose her mind if anything is messed up in here. She's picky that way. I got that? Vincent looks at the puppy, is assured for a second, then exits. Rusty follows Vincent out the door, sees well-tended lawns, the driveway, the limousine, sees Vincent help the matron back into the limousine as the limo drives off. Rusty sits on a divan, then on a chair, and finally on Vincent's bed. The clock ticks, ticks, ticks. Rusty nudges the door, exits. Inside the mansion's main room, moments later, Rusty sees opulently furnished accoutrements, a spiral staircase, a gorgeous balcony, art, lavish ornaments. Rusty trots about delicately. Inside the mansion kitchen, Rusty finds it decked out with everything imaginable for cooking. Preparation of a lavish meal is actually in progress, and Rusty is mesmerized by the mountains of food. The puppy jumps on a counter and sniffs at a kettle on a stove. Ghost Rex appears next to him. Having fun yet, kiddo? Yep. Rusty turns, sees the ghost. How do you like my new digs? Your new digs, wonders the ghost. I live here now. I have a new master, Vincent. Everything's fine. Why don't you go away? Well, this place is tip-top, but you don't belong here, and you know it. What would you know about a nice house, suburban mutt? I'm living large now. Let's go, says the ghost dog. I'm tired of chasing you all over the city. And I'm tired of you following me all over the city, country boy. Leave me alone. Get out. Ghost Rex looks all over the kitchen, nods his head. You know, Rusty, you're right. This place is terrific. It's so awesome that I'd like to throw you a housewarming party. Be right back. Ghost Rex vanishes into a gust that combines with steam from the kettle. Vapors rise up, enter an exhaust fan. The vapors go through an exhaust pipe, up the chimney, and out the mansion. In the sky above the mansion, the vapor rises over the home and heads toward the downtown area. In the sky above the city, the vapor winds down into the city, moves along rooftops, entering the chimney of the abandoned theater. Gang cats are lying around inside holding their stomachs. I'm starving, says the first cat. Ever since we lost our star, it's been tough filling the house, agrees the director. I need some food, says the second cat. Stop saying food, says the first. You brought it up. Don't look at me, boys, insists the director. I didn't write this script. Vapor enters through the ceiling vent, breaks into separate wisps that enter the cat noses. Boss Kitty sniffs. Shh! Are you cats smelling what I'm smelling? Gang Cat's director and Boss Kitty start to follow the vapor around the theater and out the front doors. Cut to the mansion inside the main room an hour later. Rusty lies on a sofa, full and napping. Commotion comes from the kitchen. Rusty rolls over. More noise. Rusty's ears perk up. Then the sound of breaking glass. Rusty rushes out of the room and into the main kitchen to find dozens of gang cats drinking wine, eating sausages, ladling from the kettle, lurking inside the refrigerator. Yap, yap, yap. Gang cats stop in their tracks. Look at Rusty. Boss Kitty smiles. Look who's here. Nice crib, says the first cat. Looks like you're doing pretty well for yourself, puppy, says the director. Left Broadway for Hollywood. Who's your agent? I knew he looked familiar, says the second cat. Guys, what are you doing? Stop it. Gang cats look at each other, burst into laughter. I'm full, says the third cat. Let's play. Gang cats throw food all over the floor, stampede out of the kitchen. Rusty tries to stop them, but is knocked down. Vincent's going to be so disappointed. Inside the main room of the mansion, Gang Cat 1 grabs a remote control. The enormous sound system starts to blast Wagner's Flight of the Valkyries. Rusty finds gang cats swinging from chandeliers, climbing on furniture, tossing fragile objects. Rusty tries to catch objects and fails. Within minutes, the entire area looks like a complete and total disaster. By the front door, Ghost Rex appears standing by the window outside, looking in and smirking. Off in the main room, Rusty frantically tries to do damage control and fails. Stop, everybody, please stop. This is the best show ever, says the director. You know, little puppy, agrees Boss Kitty. You really made me mad back there. But now that I have check. You know, little puppy, you really made me mad back there. But now that I see how generous you are with your old friends, all is forgiven. Encore, shouts the director. By the front door, Ghost Rex notices the limo pulling up the driveway. He nods, welcome home, and vanishes. Vincent enters the main room carrying suitcases, drops shopping bags, his mouth gaping open. He grabs the remote, turns off the music. Oh, no. Gang cats instantly freeze, scamper off in all directions. The matron enters, sees only Rusty standing in the center of the chaos. Vincent! Cut to the mansion gates a little bit later. Heavy fog and mist shroud the iron doors. Vincent drops Rusty outside the gates. I'm so sorry, little guy. I wish you could stay with me, but I'm lucky I still even have a job. Best of luck, little tornado doggy. Yep. Vincent rubs tears, closes the gate. Rusty watches Vincent walk back into the mansion. Then the puppy turns up the city street, only to have the ghost dog whisper in his ear, "Where you going, little Rusty?" The pup sniffs at the fog, scurries about. You again. You brought those cats over to ruin everything for me, didn't you? Just like you ruined everything for me and Nick. Wisps of fog coalesce into the body of the ghost dog. I'm fixing that mistake with Nick and doing whatever it takes to get you back home, okay? I just had a home, don't you understand? Why don't you just leave me alone already? Please, insists Ghost Rex. Forgive me. Give me a chance to fix things. I was wrong, and if I don't make things right again, then I'm going to hell. What kind of chance did you give me? You ruined my life, so maybe hell is where you belong. Rusty turns and goes. Ghost Rex watches him walk away. You're just a silly little puppy. Rusty turns back. And you're just a useless dead dog. Rusty trots defiantly away as Ghost Dog vanishes. The pup continues to trot through the fog, but gets disoriented. Silly little puppy, huh? Like a country dog would know anything. I'll be all right. I can do this. I'm in the big city now. But Rusty is enveloped completely in fog, sniffs about, clearly lost. This is kind of fun, actually. I know this city like the back of my paw. Rusty hears squeaking sounds, grinding of steel on cement. He slips into a dark opening, falls, right into splashing sounds, whimpering. Cut to the inside of a sewer pipe. Murky darkness, dim light cascading from above. The puppy thrashes about inside a pipe with flowing water, darkness all around. Yap! His yap echoes in the darkness. Yap! 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 Rusty's body is swept up in a current. A pair of glowing yellow eyes start to follow him. In the sky above the city, Ghost Rex is floating. An angelic chorus is accompanying him again, and heavenly light leads the way, all the way up to the gates of heaven and the doggy door, which this time opens invitingly. Ghost Rex catches a glimpse inside of doggy heaven. Bone-shaped clouds, winged female doggy angels, enormous golden fire hydrants, etc. The doggy door slams shut behind him with a clang. Fire hydrants turn into pyres of flame. Bone-shaped clouds turn into thunder clouds, spewing lightning, thunder, and smoke. Doggy angels turn into cat demons who grab Ghost Rex and carry him down, down, down into doggy hell, dropping Ghost Rex next to the base of a flaming volcano. Out of the top floats Cat Satan, flaming red, horned, a gigantic version of Brutus. Cat Satan grabs Ghost Rex with his pitchfork, carries him within inches of the enormous cat face. Cat Satan. Meow, wow, wow. A cat. Satan is a cat. Figures. Were you expecting Lassie? You know, you kind of remind me of somebody. Silence! Cat Satan blows flame at Ghost Rex, who winces from the heat. Okay, all right, I get it. Do you want to know why you are here? Didn't you just tell me to be quiet? Answer the question. Cat Satan blows another hotter flame right at Ghost Rex. I'm here because I used to chase cats. No, silly dog, guess again. Okay, I'll fess up. I'm here because I was mean to somebody. Go on. I was mean to somebody and I couldn't fix it. Go on. I couldn't fix it, and now the puppy and my former master are both lonely. Bingo! Not too bad for a dumb, dead dog. Can I go now? Meow, wow, wow, wow. Cat Satan grows, tosses Ghost Rex into the flaming volcano. Ghost Rex plummets inside, slides down a river of lava. Not good. At the floor of the volcano, in the depths of doggy hell, Ghost Rex tumbles into an open area. He sniffs about, runs into several other condemned dogs. Ah, another one, says the first. Why are you here? Says the second. Got my replacement puppy kicked out. Made my master sad. That's pretty bad, says the first condemned dog. Yeah, that's nothing, says the second. What do you do? Asks Rex. Police dog, says the second. Sniffed too many drugs. Seeing eye dog, says the first. Stole food from my blind master. Ouch, says Rex. But this place doesn't look too bad. Oh, it's bad, says the first. Watch out, says the second. Here it comes again. Wind kicks up, a loud blowing sound as a giant vacuum cleaner rumbles, sucking everything not tied down into an enormous bag. We'll be hoovered, says the first condemned dog. Run, says the second. The condemned dogs run, but strong suction pulls them inexorably toward mouth of the giant vacuum cleaner. You guys are right, admits Ghost Rex. This sucks. Cut to inside the sewer pipe. Glowing red eyes, a huge gaping mouth with rows of glistening teeth. Greet Rusty, who seems to be followed by a sewer monster. Roar. The current quickens, pipes twist like a roller coaster, the monster snapping in hot pursuit of Rusty. An opening looms ahead. Cut back to Doggy Hell, floor of the volcano. Pull back to reveal Cat Satan listening to a red iPod, humming, wearing a maid's outfit, is steering the giant vacuum cleaner. Ghost Rex resists the suction, grabs the power cord, braces himself between the wall socket and power cord, pulls, turning off the vacuum. Dozens of condemned dogs scatter across the floor of the volcano. Bad dog, says Cat Satan. Bad dog. Sick him, commands Ghost Rex. The condemned dogs gather into a pack and attack Cat Satan, who shoots bursts of flame. The condemned dogs dodge, leap onto Satan's tail. Ghost Rex leaps across the lava to a small island of rock. You aren't going anywhere. Sorry, buddy, but my job on Earth isn't done yet. You're finished and you're mine. Cat Satan sends a burst of flame toward Ghost Rex. Cut to inside the dark reservoir as water pours through a barred opening of a sewer pipe and into the river. Rusty, carried by flowing water, flies out between the bars as the sewer monster smashes against those bars, jaws snapping. Arrgh! Rusty plummets into the river as the sewer monster retreats. Downward into murky depths, Rusty loses consciousness. Close up on a name tag floating through the dreck. On the name tag is written Rusty. Cut back to the volcano floor as Ghost Rex sails up on a lava plume through the volcano, up and out. I'll get you soon enough, little doggy. So long, sucker. See you in hell. Out on the volcanic rim, Ghost Rex flies out of the volcano into the sky and back toward the city. I'm gonna make this right. Cut back underneath the river, small fish swim by, scatter into the dim distance. The director's monocle floats by. This is your best performance. Bravo, bravo, bravo. The chauffeur's hat floats by. Sorry, boy, says Vincent, but didn't I tell you not to leave the room? Room. Rusty's leash and dish float by. Rusty, where are you? Calls out Nick. Here, boy. Here, boy. Boy, 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 boy. At the river bottom, Rusty sees familiar objects half buried in silt. Nick's couch, the chair and makeup table from the Gang Cat Theater, the vendor's television, the hood ornament from the matron's Rolls Royce. Rusty tries to bark, small bubbles coming out. They rise to the surface, pop with an audible yap. A dead fish floats by. That's how we roll down here. Rusty looks all about, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. A dead fish, still attached to a wooden trophy board, swims by. Don't worry, little puppy. Be happy. What's going on? In every life, we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. So don't worry, kid. Be happy. Where am I? Ain't got no place to lay your head. Somebody came and took your bed. Like I said, kid, don't worry. Be happy. I have to get out of here. I said, don't worry, kid, because when you worry, your face will frown, and that will bring everybody down. What am I supposed to do? Let me give you my phone number, son. When you worry, call me. I'll make you happy. So don't worry, be happy, okay? The dead fish swims off. Rusty walks up a small hill at the bottom of the river. He walks towards what looks like Nick's house beneath the river. The puppy nudges algae, covered in patches of moss. Rusty trots over to the house and enters. Fish swimming, illuminated in wavy ripples. He sees on the floor a food bowl with the name Rusty written on it and fish feeding from the bowl. Fish swim in and around the TV in the living room. Upstairs, he follows Bubbles. Going into the upstairs bedroom, Brutus sits in a window facing out, watching the fish swim by. What are you doing here? Says Rusty. What are you talking about? Says Brutus. This is my place. Where's our master? He's forgotten about you, remember? It's you. You helped set me up, didn't you? What are you talking about? I've been waiting for you to come back home. Brutus turns suddenly to face Rusty, who leaps back in fright as Brutus transforms into Cat Satan. Welcome home, Rusty. Rusty freaks and turns and runs to the bedroom door. Yep. You've run away from home and it's payback time, pal. I lost one old dog's soul, so now I'm taking yours. Cat Satan lunges at Rusty with a pitchfork. Meow, I'm your new master now. Rusty leaps out of the bedroom, rushes down with the house collapsing all around him. Rusty is skewered by Cat Satan's pitchfork and blacks out. He wakes up on the riverbed, thrashing about in silt, swimming frantically upward until he washes onto the shore, thrashing about, breathing, gasping, alive. Susie, a young woman, early 20s, is reading a book on a park bench beneath a large tree. Susie sees Puppy, tosses the book, kicks off her shoes, rolls up her jeans, and rescues Rusty from the riverbed. Hang in there, little puppy, I'll help you. Still gasping for air, Rusty starts to sink again beneath the waves. Susie wades deeper into the water, grabs Rusty, and lifts him out. Oh my goodness! Susie holds Rusty tight, wades with him back to shore. At the riverbank, she places Rusty onto the ground, takes her sweater and wraps it around the pup, warming him up and reviving him. Come on, boy, you can do it. You can make it. Rusty shivers, sneezes. That's it. Rusty sneezes again, coughs, shivers. You're going to make it. Yep. Susie embraces Rusty, holding him close to her. Yes, you're alive. Yep. Susie pets Rusty affectionately, gives him a close look. You look like a mess, but underneath all that, you're a cute puppy. Rusty sticks out a paw from the sweater, and Susie shakes it. Pleased to meet you. Rusty shakes himself again as Susie dodges the water spray, laughing. Rusty rolls over and then leaps into Susie's lap. Yep. Susie hugs Rusty close, smiles. Well, aren't you a frisky little fellow? Yep. Where's your master? You don't have a tag. Rusty rubs his head against Susie. You need a name. Look at your adorable orange and red spots. How about Spot? Rusty sneezes. I know, not too original, but it works. You're freezing. You must be hungry. You're coming home with me. Rusty wags his tail. Cut back to the suburbs where Nick, holding a stack of signs, is nailing one of them to a lamppost. He checks his work, continues to walk up the street. He's holding Rusty's gnawed leash. Goes to another lamppost, nails another sign, turns, finally makes it back up to his own house. He walks up to the front door, reaches for a key, turns around as a car honks on his driveway. Uncle Mike, in his pickup truck, pulls in. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Mike. You posting those lost dog signs again? Yeah, but it doesn't seem to help. Nobody's calling. Give it some time, my friend. Give it some time. Uncle Mike gets out of his pickup, this time carrying a tall box wrapped again with a blue bow. Nick shakes his head, watching him. You've got to be kidding. We'll have better luck this time, I think, Nick. I'm not playing ball, Mike. Not this time. No way. Nick turns, opens his door, enters his house, leaves the door open for Mike and for that tall box. Inside his living room, Uncle Mike puts the tall box on a table while Brutus, sitting on that windowsill, takes acute interest again. Take it back, Mike. Come on, I'm serious. Open it. You saw what happened last time. This one is kitty-proof, says Mike. I guarantee it. I'll help you set it up. Nick sighs, pulls off the blue bow, opens the lid, peers inside. He smirks, removes a bird cage with a small yellow canary bird inside. Cheep, cheep. This is insane, Mike. Uncle Mike slides a chair under the chandelier and then stands and hooks the bird cage up top. Voila! See, it'll be safe and sound up there for sure. Brutus jumps off the windowsill, starts prancing underneath the cage. Ya think? Brutus takes a look, does some calculations. Dresser, bookshelf, bird cage. Come on, says Mike. How's the cat gonna get all the way up there? I just don't want the bird, okay? Nick. Cheep, cheep, cheep. Look, I know you're just trying to make me feel better, and I appreciate it. No worries, Nick. It's okay. Nick gestures with the gnawed leash. But the only thing that brings me joy is going out there trying to find Rusty, okay? Just picture yourself, insists Mike, coming home after a long day only to find this beautiful songbird here serenading you. Nick looks up at the swinging bird cage, its door somehow open, the cage somehow empty. Nick puts an arm around Uncle Mike, escorts him toward the door. You're right, Uncle Mike. I'm sure I'm going to love my new pet. Thanks so much for coming. You okay? Nick opens the front door, starts pushing Uncle Mike out. Never been better, especially now that I've got this awesome new bird. All right then. Glad that I could be of help, Nick. Enjoy the bird. See you later, and see you later too, Brutus. Brutus, sitting back on the windowsill, starts to hack. Bah. You all right, kitty? He's fine, Mike. He'll be fine. Nick pushes Uncle Mike, who resists and looks back at Brutus, suddenly barfing a bunch of yellow feathers. Nick smirks. Uncle Mike looks up at the swinging, empty birdcage. Really? He says. Really, nods Nick. You guys are hopeless. I'm out of here. Uncle Mike trots out of the house, across the front lawn to the pickup. Nick follows him as Mike gets in, starts to pull out. Hopeless, calls out Mike. See you soon, Mike. Mike shakes his head, couldn't help but smile. As the pickup takes off down the street, Nick turns to Brutus, sitting on that windowsill. You're a real piece of work, bud. Meow. Nick can't help but laugh. Cut to Susie's studio in the city, the living room that afternoon. City skyline can be seen through her windows. It's a cozy little place with a feminine touch. Door opens, Susie and Rusty playfully enter. Rusty runs all about, sniffing and carrying on. Yep. I know it's small, but it's home. Yep. First things first, we both need a bath. Let's get cleaned up. Inside her bathroom, Susie lifts Rusty and puts him into the bathtub. Oh, don't be afraid. Susie tosses a rubber ducky into the bathtub with Rusty, kneels and gives Rusty a refreshing bubble bath. The puppy, covered in bubbles, smiles. Yep. You really freaked me out when I saw you in the river, little guy. Rusty licks Susie. What were you doing out there? Did you fall in? Rusty squeezes the rubber ducky. Squeak, squeak. I'm glad I found you when I did. Let's get you nice and clean. You're safe with me now. A little while later, Susie chases Rusty around with a towel. Rusty shaking, water flying. Susie ducks and laughs, throws towel onto Rusty and drives him off. You must be starving, little guy. Let me go to the kitchen and get you something to eat. Make yourself right at home. Susie goes into the kitchen as Rusty jumps onto the sofa and chases his tail a few times. There's some shuffling and scurrying sounds as Rusty looks and sniffs. The shuffling and scurrying sounds come from a different direction. Rusty wonders what's going on, leaps off the sofa, keeps sniffing, stands in the middle of the room wondering what's going on. Is it you, Rex? Silence. Rusty stares at a closet door that's ajar. Come out! I'm not afraid of you. I've got a new master now. Nothing. Did you see how much she likes me? This is the real thing, I'm telling you. Rusty approaches the door. A fly comes buzzing out. Rusty bats at the fly, which is suddenly snapped out of the air by a long tongue that shoots out of the closet and snaps back inside, followed by creepy chewing sounds. Rusty looks into the closet door, which creeps open, revealing a colorful, ridge-horned, and slavering giant iguana. Yap, yap, yap! Rusty turns and runs right into Susie, who's holding a small bowl of milk. Susie puts down the bowl and picks up the shivering Rusty, who's totally freaked out. I see you've met my pet, Carlos. Carlos licks his lips with that big, long tongue. Susie sets the puppy down. Have some milk. It'll relax you. Rusty starts to lick up some milk as Carlos shoots a tongue at the bowl. Susie waves an accusatory finger at Carlos. Carlos! Carlos belches. Susie applauds. Bedtime for everyone. Carlos stands motionless. Rusty leaps into Susie's arms. A little bit later, in the bedroom, Susie lies in bed reading. Rusty lies next to her, looking at Carlos, who's sitting on the windowsill. Susie takes off her glasses. Night-night, everybody. Yep. Susie looks over. Carlos? The tongue shoots out and snaps off the light switch, which plunges the room into semi-darkness. Wind shakes outside the window. A silhouette of Carlos sitting in the windowsill. It's kind of creepy to Rusty, who curls up, puts his head beneath the blanket. Cut to the mansion gates late that night. Ghost Rex floats down and lands at the spot where he last saw Rusty. Rusty, come on, boy, where'd you go? Ghost Rex follows the trail to the manhole cover down which Rusty had plummeted. Oh, no, little guy, what have you gotten yourself into now? Down in the sewer tunnels, Ghost Rex flies through them sniffing. He hears growling sighs. Red eyes follow the ghost dog as the sewer monster appears right in front of him. Brrr. You've got to be kidding me, says the Ghost Rex. The sewer monster attacks Ghost Rex, jaws snapping into thin air. Snap, snap, snap. Ghost Rex shrugs. You finished yet? Brrr. Have you seen my friend White Puppy Orange Spots? It's kind of this big. Sewer monster belches. Oh no, don't tell me. Ghost Rex flies off down the tunnel. I came too late. This ugly monster probably ate my little puppy. The sewer monster chases Ghost Rex, its jaws snapping. They make it out into the reservoir as the sewer monster again smashes against those bars. Ghost Rex makes it out onto the river. I can't believe it. It's all my fault. I came too late, the poor little guy. Ghost Rex sees an object looming on the shore. He walks toward it and finds Susie's book, gives it a sniff. Bingo! You made it, Rusty. Awesome. Somebody must have found you. Now I have to find that somebody, and I'll find you. Ghost Rex eagerly follows the scent into the park. As the scene cuts back to Susie's studio apartment the next morning, Carlos is there on the windowsill, basking in the sun. His tongue lashes out, snaps a fly as Carlos devours the insect. Susie sits at the kitchen table with Rusty below, staring at the lizard, the iguana, and Susie tosses a morsel of food for the little puppy. Yep. Susie stands, straightens herself up. Okay, you crazy kids, I'm off to work. You two behave and have fun while I'm gone, okay? Susie grabs bags or books, pets Rusty on her way out. Bye, little guy. Bye, Carlos. Be nice to your new roommate, okay? She leaves as Rusty, terrified, looks at this giant iguana. Carlos looks at the closed door, starts to sliver slowly toward Rusty, who moves backward. Carlos continues to approach Rusty, who yelps. Carlos gets closer and closer to Rusty, who's now flinching. Carlos stops. Rusty's eyes open in terror. Hey, perrito. Rusty cowers in fear. Do you know what time it is? Yep, it's time for... His tongue shoots out. Rusty leans out of the way as it snaps the TV set on. Carlos gestures. On screen is the opening sequence of Disney's 1957 show, Zorro. Cloudy sky is sliced in half by a lightning strike forming a Z. Full moon shining brightly as silhouetted swordsmen come riding onto the screen. The theme song plays. Carlos singing along. Out of the night, when the full moon is bright, comes the horseman known as Zorro. Check it out, amigo. This is my favorite part. On-screen sword fights and slashing Z's as the theme song continues. This bold renegade carves a Z with his blade, a Z that stands for... Carlos snapping his tongue in sync. Zorro! The tongue shoots out again, muting the TV this time. I can't believe you don't like my favorite TV show. Rusty moves slightly back. Zorro is my hero. I want to go on adventures and do brave deeds just like him. Carlos poses as swashbuckling hero, tongue lashing out in mock swordsplay. Rusty ducks, sheepishly moves farther back. Stand back, Senor Comandante, get ready for Carlos. His tongue shoots out and draws a Carlos spit C on Susie's wall. Carlos stands on tiny hind legs, its tail forming another C. Ha, 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 ha. What do you say, amigo? Rusty hides behind his own tail. The subterfuge not exactly working. Are you going to kick me out of the house? Carlos sits, pulls out of his swashbuckler character and into his normal Carlos giant iguana self. Kick you out? What are you talking about? Why would I do that, Perrito? Rusty sighs, relaxes slightly. Aren't you afraid she might like me better than you? Who, señorita? El Dios mío. Yep. The señorita and Carlos go way back. Carlos is her protector, her guard iguana. If anybody threatens her, then watch out. Carlos strikes a pose. Tongue snaps, continues in the third person. She seems to like you. You make her happy. And if Carlos, señorita, is happy, then Carlos is happy. Carlos extends a claw. Rusty looks at the scaly little claw. You know what? You must be Carlos' assistant. Rusty looks quizzically at the claw, then at Carlos. You must be my Bernardo. Rusty shrugs, takes Carlos's claw. Carlos pulls Rusty up. Let's make a solemn oath. Yep. Amigos forever. Rusty pulls back his paw and sits sadly in a corner. ¿Qué pasó, amigo? What's wrong with you? It's a long story. Carlos sits, gestures to his head. A hole in his head, actually. I am all ears. You don't want to know, pleads the puppy. We are amigos. We must share everything. I had a friend once, my master. Carlos sits listening, captivated. We played together. He taught me tricks. I loved him. Every perrito must have a good master. But then he threw me out and I ran away. Why? He was your master. You're not going to believe this. Try me. Ghost dog. ¿Qué? My master's old dead dog came back from the grave to get rid of me. Carlos sits back, contemplatively stares at the puppy. I knew you wouldn't believe me. Oh, I believe you, Perrito. Really? Oh, yeah, amigo. My family is from Guadalajara. We got ghosts floating around all over the place. And now he's in the city trying to bring me back home. Ghosts return because they have unfinished business on the earth. The ghost dog needs to fix what he broke before he can get into doggy heaven. Yes, but I told him to go away. I told him that I could make it on my own. You can, Perito, but you belong with your master. What master? Where is he? Maybe he's out there looking for you. I don't think so. He loved his other dog more than me. My master's forgotten about me. Carlos puts a claw around the puppy. I'm so sorry, Perito, but don't worry. The señorita can be your new master for now, and Carlos, as your good amigo, promises to protect you and help take care of you. Rusty wipes a tear. Yep. Carlos extends his claw again, and this time Rusty takes it. Amigos forever. Amigos forever, yep. Claw and paw come together. On screen, the TV shows Zorro doing fancy blade work. Rusty turns sound on with his nose. Carlos lolls his immense tongue. Rusty looks at Carlos and copies lolling that huge tongue with his little puppy tongue. Que rico! Cut to Nick's house in the front yard early that morning. Nick grabs the morning newspaper as, here we go again, Uncle Mike pulls up in his pickup in the driveway, honking his horn. Good morning, Nick. Good morning, Mike. Nick turns and heads back inside as Uncle Mike grabs an oblong box this time, again with a blue bow, as Nick starts to close the door behind him. But Uncle Mike puts a foot in the door, keeps it open, and forces his way inside. He puts the oblong box on Nick's living room table, while Brutus, of course, still on the windowsill, is again rather curious. Nick just shakes his head. No. This one comes with advanced technology, insists Mike. No way. Uncle Mike unwraps the blue bow, removes the lid, and takes out a hamster cage containing a large, furry hamster. Take a look at this high-tech cage. Brutus prances around the cage, checking it out. The hamster runs on a treadmill. You feeling all right? Asks Nick. Take a look at this multi-lock protection system, insists Mike. He gestures to the hamster cage, which is secured with a computerized door latch and other fancy high-tech gizmos. You think that's going to work? Oh, yeah. You think I'm going to care? Sure, why not? You'll love the little guy. Which little guy? Asks Nick, pointing to the cage. That little. The hamster cage is already empty. And the empty treadmill is turning slowly, squeaking by itself. Ee, 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 ee. Slow camera pan to Brutus sitting on the windowsill. Brutus rubs his belly and belches. You little... Nick holds Uncle Mike back. Brutus hides underneath the couch. Down, boy. Uncle Mike regains his composure, says, that cat is really something. Just doing his cat thing. Isn't it about time you did your thing, Nick? What do you mean? Pets are great, Nick, but maybe you're ready for something or someone else to make you happy? I was happy with Rex, and I miss Rusty. How about a girlfriend? She could keep you company. I couldn't even take care of the puppy, Mike. What makes you think I'm ready for a relationship? Rusty's gone, Nick. I think you should just move on. I don't think I tried hard enough to find him, Mike. We put signs up all over town. Nick points to the cityscape in the distance. But we didn't try in the city, now did we? The city? Do you think you could make it that far? Why not, says Nick. It's worth a try. Come on, Nick, aren't you over that puppy yet? No, I really feel bad about what happened, and I'm going to do whatever it takes and whatever I can to get him back. You're nuts, Nick. I think you're awesome, but you're crazy. I have to get going, all right? You know, I'm here for you whenever you need me. I know, Mike. You're the best. I'll see ya. Uncle Mike walks toward his pickup and then notices something for the first time in back. He sees hooked onto a box, a small little crate, is Rusty's leash. Inside, Nick hears the knocking on his door. He ignores it. More knocking. He ignores it. More knocking. He finally answers it with Uncle Mike standing there, holding Rusty's leash. Hey, Mike. Uncle Mike hands Nick the leash. You're right, Nick. In my truck. He must have snuck himself a free ride to the city. Rusty? Pack it up, kid. Let's go. Thanks, Uncle Mike. Nick turns back toward the house. Nick? Yeah? I'm not bringing you any more pets, okay? More pets? That was your idea, remember? My idea? Nick and Uncle Mike laugh. Back in Susie's studio apartment that evening, Rusty's tossing a ball into the air and Carlos is using his tongue to catch it. Nice one, Carlos. Gracias. Practice makes perfecto, perito. Rusty and Carlos take a break, sipping drinks. Hey, you know what? What? You need a real name like Bernardo. No way, I already have my own name. Carlos slurps rest of his drink and belches. The name Senorita gave you, Spot? No, my first and only name. Carlos sits for a moment, staring into space. Who gave it to you? My first master gave it to me. The young hombre who kicked you out? Rusty sits down and looks out the window. Yeah. What's his name? Nick. What's your name? Rusty. Rusty? Rusty, that's me. Don't you like your new name? Not really. You've got a new life, a new master, a new amigo. I still miss my old master. You said he's forgotten about you. Sometimes I wonder. Life goes on, amigo. Maybe you're right. I got a better name for you. Fandango. You think? But of course, that's actually short for Fandango Alberto del Castillo Toro Amadeo Maximiliano Martinez. You're kidding, right? No, we can call you hashtag FADCTAMM for short, okay? How about just Max? Okay, Max. Carlos and Rusty hug. Susie enters. Aw, you crazy kids. Bedtime. A few minutes later, in Susie's bedroom, Carlos' tongue snaps at the light switch, plunging them into darkness again. Carlos sits on the windowsill, silhouetted against the full moon, as Ghost Rex floats in. Rusty, I found you. Wake up. Carlos, facing away, nonetheless sees what's going on. Ghost dog, you have returned. Who are you? I am Rusty's amigo and protector, and you are the spirit of the dog who kicked him out of his home. That's right, and I'm here to bring him back. There is no need. He is home now. Home is where his master is. He has a new master, Senorita Susana, and a new amigo, Don Carlos, and I won't let you destroy this home too. I've returned to fix what I have broken. Look at him. He's never been happier. Close-up of Rusty smiling in his sleep, lying next to Susie. So your job is already finished. Let me talk to him. Let me ask what he wants, okay? Don't wake him up. You know what he wants, and he's already found it. Now you should go. I can never rest until Rusty and his master are reunited. After all, I don't have a chance. Ghost Rex floats off and vanishes. Carlos covers Rusty with a blanket, lies down next to Rusty and Susie. Carlos wraps his tail protectively around Rusty. Fade out. Fade in to the picnic area in a park around noon the next day. Marching ants are led by an ant drill sergeant. I don't know, but I've been told. Ant Squad replies, I don't know, but I've been told. Steal it fast, for it gets cold. Steal it fast, for it gets cold. One for all and all for one. One for all and all for one. Juicy burgers with the bun. Juicy burgers with the bun. Slowly pull back to reveal the ants crawling on a red and white checkerboard tablecloth spread, heading toward the wicker picnic basket full of even more goodies. Ant Drill Sergeant shouts out, "Go ants!" and the ant squad calls back out, "Rah!" Only a tongue shoots out of nowhere and grabs all the ants up in one huge fell swoop. Pull back to reveal Carlos chewing and belching. Carlos is on a leash and tied to a tree. Rusty is lying on the spread, which holds the wicker basket, toys, and games. What a great day for a picnic, amigo. Very breezy, puffs of clouds, not too warm. Rico. Yep. Susie calls out, "Let's go play." Rusty excitedly jumps up and runs in circles around Carlos. "Yep, want to go? Yep. No, amigo, it's siesta time." Carlos closes his eyes. Susie waits for Rusty to join her with open arms. Rusty jumps up into Susie's outstretched arms as they hug closely. "I love you," calls out Susie. Yep. Moments later, Susie is tossing a frisbee and Rusty is retrieving it. She catches her breath, sits on a park bench to rest. "Shake!" Rusty shakes her hand. "Roll over!" Rusty rolls over. "Play dead!" Rusty lies on his back, feet in the air. "Good boy!" Susie rubs Rusty's tummy. Back by the picnic area, Carlos sleeps as a paw comes into frame and swoops up the food basket. Pull back to reveal the gang cats swarming in formation, tossing the food basket back and forth among them as they escape. Carlos awakens, rushes after the gang cats, but is caught on the leash. Caramba! Carlos puts a claw into his mouth and whistles. Back beneath the big tree, Rusty hears the whistle, his ears perking up. He sees the gang cats tossing the food basket, rushing off along the path. "Rusty, they stole our food," calls out Susie. "Get them." Rusty jumps up and chases after the gang cats. Carlos, meanwhile, struggling against his leash, pulls, snaps, tries again. "Es esta más feo que el culo de un mono." Moments later, on the park path, Rusty is chasing after the gang cats. Yap. Rusty gets closer, the gang cats scratching back at Rusty. "How's our star doing?" asks Cat 1. "Drop it." Cat 2 is wondering if you're crashing our party again, pal. "That's my master's food." "You always get the best chow," smirks Cat 3. Gang cats climb up branches, distributing themselves to the top branch of an enormous oak tree where the director is already sitting up there in a folding chair. The gang cats toss the food basket one to another, climbing progressively higher and higher up the tree, finally making it to the director, while Rusty is barking busily at the bottom of the tree, looking up helpless. Yap. "Where's a good stunt puppy when you need one?" smiles the director, digging into the food basket. Back by the picnic area, Carlos hears Zorro theme music playing in his head. Sings along, Zorro, Zorro, the fox so cunning and free. Zorro, Zorro, who makes the sign of the Z. Carlos rushes around the tree, leash tightening, stretching until Carlos slingshots in rapid outward spirals, leash snapping off as Carlos goes flying. Susie, her mouth dropping, watches Carlos sail off into the sky and across the park. Carlos falls from the sky and right onto the director up in the tree, who thrashes about, wrestling the food basket away. He's got the chow, get him! Carlos' tongue snaps back at the director as he leaps from branch to branch, carrying the food basket. Carlos's tongue is snapping away at gang cats who plummet in succession off the tree. We have recovered the treasure, amigo. Drop it down to me, Carlos. Carlos drops the food basket into Rusty's arms. But before it makes it, the basket is swept up by none other than Boss Kitty. Yep. Time to go. Bye-bye, boys. Carlos leaps off the branch, and Boss Kitty runs off with the food basket, pursued by our heroes. Andale, andale, yep, go get 'em, guys, calls out Susie, waving and running. They make it to the park near the fountain as Boss Kitty runs with the basket. Boss Kitty pushes a manhole cover aside, yells, "So long, suckers," and leaps inside the sewer. No, boys, calls out Susie, don't go down there. Carlos and Rusty shrug, fist pump, and leap inside after her. In the sewer beneath the park, Carlos and Rusty splash in the murky water. They follow Boss Kitty and the food basket around one corner, then another, as she vanishes down a side pipe. Caramba, there she is. Hold on, says Rusty. I know a shortcut down that tunnel. Come on, follow me. Carlos and Rusty zig and zag through various sewer tunnels. Are you sure you know where you're going, amigo? Trust me, says Rusty. That stupid puppy, says Boss Kitty ahead of them. We should have left him in that cage. I hate dogs. Boss Kitty turns, runs right into Carlos and Rusty. Hola, señorita. Yep, that belongs to my master. I was your perfect master, gave you a home and a job, remember? How do you pay me back? By running away? By trying to steal my food? What kind of dog are you? A loyal one, insists Rusty. Now give me back my master's food. Boss Kitty laughs and turns up another side tunnel. Stop, yells Rusty. That way is dangerous. Boss Kitty calls back. Are you kidding? Meow, wow, 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 wow. We're letting her go, amigo. Carlos tries to follow, but Rusty holds him back. Trust me. Boss Kitty continues. Rusty and Carlos hear splashing sounds, then growling. Meow, meow, help, help. More growling, more splashing, then silence. Carlos and Rusty look, but can't see anything. Moments later, the full food basket floats right to them. Rusty grabs it. Carlos and Rusty high five. Vámonos, let's go. I think that's a good idea. Our heroes turn as an enormous shadow engulfs them. Carlos goes into a battle stance. The sewer monster rises. Rah! El Dios mío, what is that? We go way back, says Rusty. The sewer monster takes a few steps toward them, mouth opening. Rusty cringes, closes his eyes, holding the food basket tightly. Carlos steps in front of Rusty, gazes at the sewer monster. Alberto? Sewer monster stops, looks at Carlos. Carlos? Carlos and Umberto, aka the sewer monster, hug. Flamenco-style music cuts in from nowhere. Rusty opens his eyes, looks, sees them together. You guys know each other? Know each other? This is my long-lost brother, Alberto. Alberto, this is my amigo, Rusty. Rusty, Alberto. Nice to meet you, says Alberto. Hi. What happened to your hermano when that little girl flushed you down the toilet? We thought you were gone forever. It's been hard on my own without my family. But I learned the sewer ways, my brother, and I have been okay. I can tell, says Rusty. Thank you for helping us retrieve our food. No problemo. I got a good meal too. We gotta go, bro. Want to come with us? No, gracias. Last time I went topside, helicopters chased me. Besides, I kind of got used to it down here. Adios, my brother. Farewell, my friends, says Alberto, slithering off into the darkness. Carlos and Alberto hug again. Carlos salutes his long-lost hermano. Yep. Back in the park, topside, near the fountain, Susie kneels near the manhole cover. Heroic music kicks in from nowhere as Susie looks up, stands. Carlos and Rusty, filthy but triumphant, walk toward Susie, setting sun behind them. Rusty carries the food basket and drops it at Susie's feet. I was so worried about you guys. Yap, yap. Carlos snaps his tongue. Susie kneels down and hugs them both. You're my heroes. Rusty and Carlos wink. Tongue snaps. Rusty yaps. You boys deserve a picnic lunch. Come on, let's eat. Susie opens the food basket and they all sit down to eat as the sun sets. Slow dissolve to the same scene at dusk, the sun going down, shadows, orange light, a gorgeous dusk. Susie's carrying the empty food basket, walking with Rusty, leashed to Carlos, as we pan across the park to a street and a street lamp nearby, as we see Nick taping a lost dog sign to the city street light. Nick sighs deeply and walks toward the waiting pickup truck. Gets in. That was the last one for today. Have faith, Nick. Someone will call soon. I'm exhausted. Never give up, Nick. All it takes is one. Yeah, let's go. All right, you need some rest. We can spread some more signs around the city tomorrow, okay? Uncle Mike starts to pick up, and they drive off. Next morning, at a pet shop, Susie exits the store carrying a full shopping bag. The front door as she leaves is held open by Nick, who is holding a stack of paper. Susie and Nick make eye contact. Susie drops her bag. Nick drops several papers. Nick picks up her bag, hands it back to her. Susie picks up some of the papers, accidentally leaving one sheet on the ground, gives them back to him. Thank you, says Susie. Thank you, replies Nick. Susie awkwardly turns, shyly exits the shop. Nick enters. Susie looks back toward the store and toward Nick. Nick looks back toward the parking lot, and Susie walks slowly to her car, Inside the pet shop, Nick removes a piece of paper from the stack, posts the sign on the bulletin board by the door. As Wynn kicks up and carries that piece of paper that was left on the ground out the door, kind of miraculously toward Susie out in the parking lot. As the wind blows that paper toward Susie, who's opening her door, paper sails through the open car window and right into Susie's open purse. Susie, not noticing, drives off. We pull back a little bit and we notice that the wind that carried that paper transforms into Ghost Dog Rex, now standing in the parking lot. The ghost dog watches Susie drive off with Rusty with that paper in her purse. We cut to the parking lot of her apartment a little bit later. Susie grabs the grocery bag and her purse. She enters the hallway, rummages through her purse for the apartment keys, finds the paper, reads the paper. Susie's inside her apartment. Carlos and Rusty are busy watching TV. On screen is an Animal Planet episode depicting a colony of swarming termites. That's gross. Yummy, I love the Food Channel. Sound of key in the lock as Susie enters. Carlos and Rusty jump to greet Susie, but Susie looks a little weird, contemplative. Rusty? Says Susie, looking at the little dog. Yep. Susie puts her head down and turns away from Rusty, avoiding eye contact. She grabs her phone, dials the number on the paper, drops the paper onto the table, and enters the kitchen, closing the door in front of Carlos and Rusty. What's wrong with Senorita? I don't know. I hope she's okay. Carlos and Rusty look at the paper on the table. Tongue snaps at the paper, which flutters to the floor in front of them. Close up on the paper is a photo of Rusty. Lost dog answers to Rusty. Reward, please call, with a number. Carlos looks at the paper, then at Rusty, then at the paper, then Rusty. Is that you, amigo? Rusty nods his head. Ay, caramba! Susie, in the kitchen, drops the paper onto the table, picks up the phone and dials the number. She listens, waits, hangs up, dials again, listens, waits. Back at Nick's house, in his living room, a silent phone sits on the table next to the couch. Brutus, a detached phone cord in his paw, swings it like a lasso. He grins to himself, prances upstairs. Up in the bedroom, Brutus leaps into bed where Nick is already sitting looking out the window. The cat leaps into Nick's lap, rubs against him. Nobody's calling about Rusty, sighs Nick. I think it's just you and me, kiddo. Nick pets Brutus, who purrs loudly. Susie, back in her apartment, tries the third time and finally hangs up. She looks at the paper, shakes her head, goes into the living room, embraces Rusty, looks at him. You used to have a master, didn't you? Yep. Well, looks like he's finally found you. Yep. I can't seem to get through, but there's an address on the back of the sign. It's breaking my heart, but I think there's no choice but to try and take you back home, buddy. Take you back home, Rusty. Let me get your leash and things, and we'll go. Rusty looks at Carlos. Looks like your first master has been looking for you this whole time after all, my friend. I can't believe he's still trying to find me, but I love Susie and you, my friend. What should I do, Carlos? I don't really know, Perito. What would Zorro do? Zorro would follow his heart and let his destiny lead him. Rusty hugs Carlos, and Carlos, with tears in his eyes, wraps his long, slithering tail around Rusty. Susie enters with a leash, grabs her handbag, and sweeps up the puppy as they head for the door. Amigos forever! Amigos forever! Rusty, with tears in his eyes, turns away. Carlos scampers toward the door and jumps, but just before it closes. As Susie walks up the hallway with Rusty on a leash, we get a close-up of Susie's handbag, out of which is sticking the tail of a giant iguana. Cut to Susie driving on the highway a little bit later. Rusty's at her side. They're driving through the suburbs, the neighborhood getting more and more familiar to Rusty. Susie looking at the dog more and more forlornly. The car pulls up to Nick's house. Brutus is sitting in a second-floor windowsill, watching Susie and Rusty go to the front door. Brutus retreats inside as Rusty jumps about, his tail wagging. Susie presses the doorbell. Nothing. Susie tries the bell again. Nothing. The camera pans up to Brutus holding the clapper, muffling the doorbell. Nobody home, Rusty. Yep, come on, let's go. Susie starts walking back to the car. Rusty looks at the closed door. Rusty follows her, jumps into the back seat of the car. Back in Nick's house, Nick's on the sofa. Brutus leaps into his lap, purring. Susie starts the engine outside, but Nick hears the car, tosses the cat off the lap, goes to the window, peers out, just as Susie's taking off down the road. 1 block, 2 blocks, until they both see Nick running, chasing after the car. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. Susie slows down, shakes her head as Nick approaches the car. I don't think I can do this, she says. Rusty runs out, leaps into Nick's arms. Both hug and kiss, Rusty licking Nick's face. Rusty, yep, yep, yep. Inside the car, Susie has her head on the steering wheel and she's sobbing. Nick, still holding Rusty, walks up to the driver's door. As Susie looks up, tears in her eyes. Well, hello there, says Nick. Hi, snivels Susie. You're the one who found Rusty? Yeah, more like Rusty found me. Rusty leans over and licks Susie's face, too. He sure does like you. You, too. Thank you so much for bringing him back to me. Susie blushes. You're welcome. Susie puts the car in drive, but Nick hangs on. Won't you come on in and have some coffee? I'm not sure. I should be. Yep, yep, yep. Looks like Rusty won't let you go. Come on, come on. Come over, visit. Oh, I guess I can stay a few minutes. She smiles at Rusty. What do you think? What do you think, puppy? Yep, yep. Susie nods. Nick smiles. Rusty yaps. Susie turns the car around. A few minutes later, in Nick's kitchen, Nick and Susie sit at the table drinking tea and nibbling on cookies. I'm so grateful you brought Rusty back. I missed him so much. The place hasn't been the same without him. He really is a special little puppy. Rusty gets up, scampers out of the kitchen, trots through the living room, checking out the old house. Up the steps, he sees the portrait of himself with Nick. Inside the bedroom, he scampers about, smiling, sniffing, his old squeaky toy's blanket, water bowl with the name Rusty, all still there. Then he turns a corner and runs right into Brutus. Hi. Rusty steps backward as Brutus moves slowly toward him. I couldn't help but notice that you're back. Brutus moves. Rusty steps back into a water bowl, shakes his paw. I also couldn't help but notice that girl really likes you. Brutus continues to move closer as Rusty, now pushed against the wall, shivers. You should have stayed with her. I came back to be with my true master. Why? Didn't he throw you out? Look around. He loved me. He still loves me, and he's been looking for me the whole time. Yeah, you're right. So what? I bet that ghost dog is going to come back here and do his tricks again, this time finishing the job. I don't think so. We know that it's been you the whole time. Really? Okay, you win. You can stay. Really? Brutus grabs Rusty by his neck and leans into him. No, you actually can't. Sorry, this place is mine. I own it now, and if you decide to stay, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Brutus pushes Rusty away and Rusty brushes him off. I make my master happy. That's why I'm here. That's so sweet. Guess what? I'm here because I make myself happy. And that's why I'm going to do everything in my power to kick you out for good this time. Rusty heads toward the door, but Brutus blocks him. Rusty moves to one side, the cat blocks. They do a dance for a while. I've had enough, cat. That's good, so have I. Brutus slaps Rusty, who goes sailing across the room, approaches Rusty again. I'm not afraid of you. I've been to the big city. I've met your type. Not my type, sweetheart. Brutus flicks his paw as long Wolverine-style claws protrude. His hair bristles, forming Wolverine-style hair. Rusty cowers in a corner. Come to Papa. Brutus lunges. Rusty closes his eyes. Suddenly, flamenco music cuts in from nowhere. Brutus stops, looks about with a what the hell look. Rusty opens one eye. A tongue snaps with lightning speed and pinpoint accuracy at Brutus's claws, stomach, face, knocking him backward. Snap, snap, snap. Close up on Brutus's face, a nasty saliva sea emblazoned across it. Carlos leaps off a windowsill and into a battle stance. Brutus shakes his head, wipes away the sea, tries to get his bearings back. What is that? I am Senor Don Carlos at your service, and I see you've already met my assistant, Fandango Alberto del Castillo Toro Amadeo Maximilio Martinez, Rusty. Amigos forever! Amigos forever! Carlos and Rusty high-five, then lean back-to-back in a defensive pose, as if surrounded by multiple enemies. Hey, what took you so long? Well, I was waiting for just the right moment to introduce myself. It talks. It fights, too, buddy. Rusty and Carlos get into a battle stance. Great. Carlos and Rusty leap toward Brutus. Meow! Nick and Susie are still down in the kitchen chatting. Yeah, I was just sitting in the park reading, and I saw something in the river. Rusty? Yes, I rushed up and saw a little puppy struggling in the water. He was so vulnerable, so helpless. Nick nods, immersed in the story. Commotion comes from upstairs, but Nick ignores it, continues listening to Susie. Meanwhile, upstairs, Brutus swipes at Rusty with his extended claws. Rusty ducks. Carlos' tongue snaps another rapid-fire salvo at the cat, who dodges and swipes back. Brutus takes several tongue lashings, recovers, and leaps to the window. Be back soon. Brutus leaps out the window toward a nearby tree branch. Just before reaching it, Carlos' tail shoots out after him, grabbing Brutus around his body and hurling him back into the bedroom. Momentum sends Brutus sailing into Rusty, who both tumbled headlong down the steps. Brutus falls on top of Rusty on the landing, rolls off, gets in the battle stance, claws again extended. Rusty lies on his back, feet in the air. Carlos, at the head of the stairway, calls down, "Amigo, you okay? He's finished, and you're next." Rusty turns and bites Brutus, sending Brutus tumbling down the next flight of steps. Meow! Carlos leaps down to the landing, joining his buddy Rusty. Both of them lean back to back again, back into their classic defensive stance. "That was excelente, amigo. Where did you learn that?" "My master taught me how to play dead." "Good idea." "I also have some experience in the theater," he winks. "Vámonos!" Carlos and Rusty race down the second flight of steps after Brutus. Meanwhile, Nick and Susie are chatting in the kitchen, sitting even closer together. "How did Rusty ever get away from you?" "Oh, it's totally my fault. My old dog had just died, and I was really emotional at the time. I'm so sorry." Susie puts her hand in Nick's hand. "I understand. Please tell me more." Back in the living room, Brutus swipes at Carlos and Rusty, then dives beneath the furniture. Carlos lunges after the cat, who sneaks up, climbing on top of a bookshelf. Brutus hurls books at Carlos and Rusty, who duck and dive out of the way. Brutus grabs the portrait of Rusty and Nick. "Put that down," calls out the puppy. "Okay," says Brutus as he hurls the portrait at Rusty. The portrait is caught by Carlos' tail out of midair, placing it back on the shelf. Brutus sighs and jumps on the chandelier as the tongue snaps at the fixture, causing it to spin, sending Brutus flying off. Carlos and Rusty chase after the hurling Brutus as Nick turns just as the animals are on the other side of the hallway and out of view. He goes back to listening to Susie. "So what do you do for a living?" "I'm a librarian, really. I love reading." Susie blushes. Nick blushes. Nick stands. "Would you mind if I showed you my place?" "Oh, of course." The door bursts open on the back porch of Nick's house as Brutus leaps out and into the backyard with Rusty and Carlos close behind. Carlos stops. "What's wrong, amigo?" "You don't need my help." "Yep, I think you can finish this mission by yourself, Rusty." "But we are amigos forever." Cat runs across the backyard, about to get away. "He's all yours, amigo. Go." Rusty winks at Carlos. He gets it. He rushes into the backyard. As meanwhile, back in the house, Nick and Susie walk into the living room, discover that the place is trashed, books everywhere, furniture knocked around. "Rusty?" "Maybe he's excited seeing you again," says Susie. "Sorry about the mess. Seems like we both like reading, though." Nick blushes again. Susie blushes again. "I can help you clean up, Nick." Susie and Nick move closer together. A moment before they touch, noises erupt from the backyard. "Oh my gosh! Rusty! Let's go get him!" Nick and Susie rush out. In the backyard, Rusty pursues Brutus in a chase identical to that from the beginning. The cat leaps through the garden, hurling vegetables at ducking Rusty, the same way Brutus hurled vegetables at the ducking Rex. Brutus leaps onto that same trash can by the shed, hurling garbage. He leaps onto the shed roof from the trash can, hurling roof tiles. Leaps from the shed roof to a tree branch, taunting Rusty the same way the cat taunted Rex. Afraid? Maybe you should be, buddy. Last time a grown dog tried to make it, he wound up a ghost dog. A puppy this time? Yeah, forget it. I'm not afraid, and I'm not afraid of you. Awesome. Go for it, you stupid fuzzball. Rusty takes several steps back, revs up for a jump. Nick and Susie rush out onto the patio. Susie sees Carlos. Carlos? Wow, says Nick, you are one ugly. Don't worry, says Susie, he's with me. Carlos, Nick, and Susie look over at the commotion and see Rusty on the shed roof. Nick calls out, Rusty, no! Rusty runs along the shed roof and leaps. Rusty flies through the air between the shed roof and the tree branch. Brutus grins. He's been to this party before. Rusty continues, just like Rex did, falling just short of the tree branch. Bye-bye, smiles Brutus, as Rusty falls downward, heading directly for the stone. Wind suddenly kicks up, blowing through Susie and Nick's hair. Carlos sticks his nose in the air, sniffing, looking around. The wind blows with enough strength to lift Rusty up and over to the tree branch. The wind morphs into Ghost Rex, the rush of air offering support to Rusty as he scrambles back onto the tree branch. Brutus sees Ghost Rex. Ghost Rex winks and vanishes. Meow! Nick and Susie stare in awe. Carlos salutes. Rusty stands defiantly on the tree branch facing Brutus. Let's be friends, little puppy. Ya think? Amigos forever? You've had your chance, Commandante. Rusty does impressive moves on Brutus, who tries to defend himself, but it's all over for the cat. Brutus plummets from the tree branch, lands on his feet, and rushes off into the bushes. Rusty smiles, but realizes how high he is, tries to balance himself. Yelp! 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 Help! Yelp! Nick, Susie, and Carlos appear below, gesturing for him to jump. Rusty shakes his head. Come on, Rusty, jump and I'll catch you. Rusty shakes his head. Come on, amigo, jump. Rusty closes his eyes and takes the leap. Rusty lands in Nick's arms. Nick hands Rusty to Susie, their hands touching. Susie pets Rusty. Nick puts his arm around Susie. Nick and Susie kiss. Yep. Que lindo. Cut to doggy heaven. A panoramic view of fluffy, bone-shaped clouds. Gigantic golden fire hydrants, frisbees, and chew toys are all around. Terrified mailmen run, chased by blessed dog souls. Ghost Rex floats into the scene, escorted by the heavenly guard dog. So you made it, huh? It was close, but love conquered all. Always does, says the heavenly guard dog. Achoo! Will I be able to see how my friends on Earth are doing? Sure. You see Lassie yet? Lassie? Sure. Rin Tin Tin, all those guys? Not yet. Any cats? Achoo! None here. I'm liking this place already. Heavenly guard dog gestures. Come on. Scene fades out, fades in to Nick and Susie's house in the backyard. Flowers blow in a strong breeze over Rex's tombstone. On-screen text reads, 5 years later. Kids are swinging back and forth on a swing underneath the large tree. Inside the kitchen, Nick's home has been transformed with a woman's touch. Susie stands by a cake, lighting last of 4 birthday candles. She carries the cake into the living room. The living room is covered in birthday decorations, and the table has many presents. Nick stands with Bobby, a 4-year-old boy. Susie places the cake on the table. Happy birthday, Bobby. Thanks, Mommy and Daddy. We're so proud of you. Make a wish and blow out the candles. Bobby inhales and blows. The candles go out. Nick and Susie hug Bobby. A car horn beeps outside. Nick opens the front door, and there stands Uncle Mike holding a large box with a blue bow. Happy birthday, Bobby, says Uncle Mike. Oh, no, let me guess. The more things change, Nick. Susie hugs Uncle Mike. Nick takes the large box and puts it onto the living room table. Go ahead, Bobby. Open that one up first. What is it? Asks the boy. Bobby eagerly pulls off the blue bow and starts to remove the lid. Carlos and Rusty, off to one side, have taken some interest. What do you think it is this year, amigo? Video game? Too big. Foosball table? Too small. Bobby removes a new puppy. One that looks like a younger version of Rex. Yap, yap, yap. Rusty stands suddenly, his hair bristling. But Carlos's tongue snaps at Rusty, who snaps out of it. Hey, you forgetting something, amigo? Yeah, I know. You're right. Muy bien. Nick hands the new puppy to Bobby, who holds it eagerly. What's the puppy's name? How about we call him Rex Jr., suggests Nick. That's a bit long, says Susie. Rexy, says Bobby. Nick and Susie smile, give Bobby a thumbs up. Yep, yep, yep. Susie puts her arm around Nick. Carlos puts a webbed claw around Rusty. I think that's a nice name, says Susie. Rexy leaps out of Bobby's arms, rushes over to Rusty, and licks Rusty's face. Rusty tries to resist at first, but rapidly succumbs. Carlos winks. Rusty can't help but smile. Later in the kitchen, Nick and Susie sit at the table eating dinner. Bobby throws the little morsel down to Rexy. Yep, yep. Later in the living room, Rexy plays with a chew toy. Rusty and Carlos sit on the couch as Rusty stares out the window. What are you thinking about, amigo? Sometimes I miss, the other Rex. Ah, El Ghost Dog. I wish he could see us now. I am sure he does. You think so? I know so. I can feel his spirit. The wall clock chimes the hour. Do you know what time it is, Carlos? I certainly do. Carlos whistles. Brutus, older and much, much fatter, hobbles over. How might I serve you, sir? Carlos gestures. Brutus nods. Yes, sir. Brutus hobbles over to the TV and turns it on command. On screen is the opening sequence of the 1957 show Zorro. Cloudy sky is sliced in half by a lightning strike, forming a Z. Full moon shining brightly as silhouetted swordsmen come riding into screen. The theme song plays, Carlos and Rusty singing along. Out of the night, when the full moon is bright, comes the horseman known as Zorro. Amigos forever! Amigos forever! On screen, the opening sequence of Zorro is suddenly lost to white noise. The picture suddenly clears to an image of Ghost Rex in heavens. Amigos forever, calls out the ghost dog. Amigos forever! Amigos forever! Yap, yap, yap. Woof, says the ghost dog to Brutus. Brutus cringes and bristles. Meow! And leaps underneath the sofa. Carlos, Rusty, and Rexy high five. Rusty and Carlos turn back to the TV as Rexy chews on his toy. On screen, the opening sequence of Zorro continues. And that is the screenplay of Rusty the Puppy. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading it. In parallel, I am putting together the audiobook of my new science fiction novel. And the greatest challenge is doing the voices of characters. Now, if you got a budget sufficient to get talent, you not only have someone professional read the narration, but take on the various voices of the various characters. Especially if you're a man, to get female talent to do the female voices. In my novel, I've got a non-binary person, so that's particularly challenging. And you do your best if you don't have them. In retrospect, reading this script, I think I had the easiest time with Carlos the giant iguana, if only I could fake a bad Spanish accent. And then I guess I just kind of fudged the voice of Susie. As long as the voices are different enough in sequence so that the reader or the listener knows that it's a different character speaking, you're at least 70-80% of the way there. So anyway, I'm learning. I think this is a great exercise. This gets the screenplay out in yet another format. So we have it again as a blog on Medium. At the end of the blog, too, are some of the renderings of Rusty's cartoons of the different characters, at least initially. And now it's in a podcast format, which is fun. So the repurposing of content is one of the joys of do-it-yourself digital distribution. If you write something in a text format, then you could readily repurpose it, and you could do audio, and prompts are now generating AI images, if you want to go that route, and even AI video. So we're not too far from DIY enabling a writer to, in a sense, do it all. You could just plug stuff in, learn the technology, then plug stuff in, and see what happens. Either way and anyway, it's been fun, and more to come. Thank you for listening to Bald and Bloviating. I'm your host, and in this episode, reader of an original screenplay.